Addresses. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, esteemed colleagues, honored guests and respected professionals across the procurement and supply chain landscape, good morning and welcome. It's a privilege and a profound honor to address you today as we gather for this important symposium themed Cross-Industry Supply Chain Collaboration in a Changing Environment. The evolving tax landscape shaped by regulatory reforms, which have different moving parts that form a pole, whether it is subsidy removal to naira fluctuations reforms, student credit loan, things like prioritizing Nigeria and local content, and especially the tax reforms in Nigeria, global shift in policy, digitalization, and increased pressure on organizational transparency demand that we strategize how our supply chains operate in order for our businesses to grow, SMEs grow, though there are some exceptions to this category, into medium and to conglomerates. Today's symposiums afford us to talk about the effect of the tax reforms as it affects procurement and the impact on supply chain collaboration, and also to explore the innovative responses in order to strengthen our collaborative frameworks, align diverse sectors towards best practices that ensure compliance, efficiency, and strategic resilience. This gathering is more than just an academic reflection, but a practical engagement that allows us to collectively advance the supply chain profession in Nigeria at a time when collaboration is indispensable. I would like to acknowledge some people, very special people, and I am deeply honored to welcome several distinguished leaders whose presence adds immense value to today's engagement. Like he had previously mentioned, Mr. Sam Achampong, Cips, is our Cips Regional Director for the Middle East, Africa, and Asia Pacific. Sam has been very, very supportive from way back. I think I met him 2018 thereabout. Sam, your continuous support for our region and your commitment to professional excellence inspires and challenges us to do more. And it's really true. And also, Mr. Chukwudi Uche, Cips, CIPS Nigerian Country Director, like he was introduced, the pioneer, very passionate about the profession, very passionate to even integrate it into the public sector. Because I know we have major, public and private sectors, but he's so passionate that if the governance can get the procurement thing right, then governance will be right. Thank you, Mr. Uche. Chukwudi, your leadership since the official opening of CIPS Nigeria office has brought renewed value, visibility, and focus to our professional community, and also to our keynote speaker, Mrs. Chioma Okwechi, Cips, whose expertise in strategic supply chain governance set the foundation for today's conversation. Our distinguished speakers, Ambassador Dr. William Odimigwe, I hope I pronounce it well, Cips, Mr. Ibrahim Oseni, Cips. Thank you for lending your deep industry insight and technical knowledge to this symposium. And also to our panelists, the moderators, invited guests, supply chain leaders, academics, public and private sector professionals, students, you are all welcome. We appreciate you, the students, because if you can get it right from the institution, then the profession is going places. We appreciate your presence and your commitment will evaluate to elevating the professional. Now, to recognize our past branch chair, even in their absence, allow me to take a moment to acknowledge all our past branch chairs. They serve to revive the Nigerian branch, though in absentia. The first one, Mrs. Igeme Ezenwanta, F-Cips, Mr. Michael Fadipe, M-Cips, Mrs. Uche Bob Agu, F-Cips, we call her Madam Chair, and Mr. Harold Nwariaku, F-Cips, our immediate past chair. Though he is not with us today, he is representing us in a higher calling. His legacy is strongly felt. All of them serve selflessly with dedication, consistency, and visionary leadership. Visionary leadership laid the foundation upon which we continue to build. Our immediate past branch chair, through his visionary leadership, worked closely with the team, and indeed we are reaping the fruits of his labor. I also extend my heartfelt congratulations on his recent appointment as country manager for CIPS in America and Canada. A global recognition of the excellence he exhibited during his service in Nigeria. His new roles brings pride to all of us and remind us that the world is watching the quality emerging from Nigerian procurement and supply chain space. So what's our collective mandate going forward? As a branch, we stand at a defining moment. CIPS Nigeria remains the only active branch in the entire West and Central African region, and that reality places a significant responsibility upon us. We must lead with excellence, uphold professional integrity, and serve as a model for the region. With the CIPS office now officially established in Nigeria, and with one of our own directing its affairs, a new era of stability and institutional presence has begun. This gives us greater opportunity to, one, consolidate the gains of previous leadership while moving the branch to even greater heights. Deepen collaboration with the CIPS Nigerian office to strengthen member services, enhance professional development pathways, and expand national outreach. More collaboration with the public sector procurement personnel, which I represent, to build capacity and skills that translate to value and growth. The public sectors have the highest spend in terms of infrastructural development. I'm sure we all know that Lagos State just signed the 2026 budget, 4.2 trillion. So if procurement is active, if it's well embedded, if it's, the governance, every one of us will feel the governance. So is to foster partnership with local supply chain institutes, associations, and professional bodies to harmonize standards and drive a shared agenda for development. Work collaboratively towards hosting multi-institutional supply chain events, conferences in the coming years, bringing together procurement, logistic, risk, and supply chain professionals across multiple sectors. Strengthen our internal governance process, including conducting branch elections as and when due, in line with CIPS global standards. This commitment reflects our resolve to build a stronger, more viable, and more influential CIPS Nigerian branch, one that drives professional excellence across the country and the region. And in conclusion, as we commence today's symposium, I encourage every participant to engage deeply, contribute meaningfully, challenge perspectives constructively. The conversations we hold here have the power to influence organizational behavior, shape policy thinking, and build bridge across industry. It is with great pleasure and a strong sense of purpose that I welcome you all to this symposium. Let us give, gain, and grow together. Once again, welcome, thank you, and God bless you all. This is Omotunde.
At this point, I'd like to welcome Sam to share with us the CIPS updates.
Thank you, everyone. Good to see you all. It's actually my first time in Port Harcourt. Obviously not my first time in Nigeria. I was saying earlier that my visits to Nigeria are getting more frequent. So when I first came and I met Madam Chairman and the team, I think it was 2019. And then the next time I came was this year. So, I don't know, maybe 6 years. But the space between that visit and this visit is only 6 months. So obviously the frequencies between me coming are shortening. Why is that? Because as far as Cips is concerned, Nigeria and the development of procurement and supply chain in this country globally is our #1 priority. Why? Because the commitment from the government, the Bureau of Public Procurement, the BPP, are strong. So we have a duty to support that ambition. And we're here. And we're going to do that. Which is why we recently set up the Cips Nigeria office. And that's, we'll have some updates later. I'm sure Woody will be happy to give you an update on that. But that really is here to support the profession, not just in Nigeria, but the wider sub-Saharan Africa, and will continue to grow as far as procurement influence is concerned. And just to give you an idea of how important it is and how significant it is to have an office in Nigeria, Cips operates in 181 countries around the world. It has 8 offices, okay? So that just gives you an idea. It has 8 offices, and one of them is in Nigeria, out of those 181 countries. So the significance is real, and we're here really to continue to build the profession. We really see that the future, as far as procurement and supply chain, is the adoption of strategic procurement. Too much procurement done around the world is still very transactional. Strategic procurement, the type of procurement that unlocks value, is what we're here to support, and to make sure that students like yourselves have the skills to add value in the future. If you look at the stats around the world, governments around the world, just public procurement, governments around the world in their public procurement spend something like $13 trillion through their procurement departments. $13 trillion. Only 2% of that amount is spent strategically. So if you can imagine, okay, 98% of that figure is basically spent in a very transactional way. There's no value being gained. People are literally just seeking vendors, buying the goods and services, and really not realizing the value. And that means that the funds available for governments are not being maximized at all. So public procurement and the strategic procurement that should really be enacted by practitioners like yourselves is what's needed and what's lacking. So what I can say is that's what Cips is here to do. Because once you've been through the qualifications and the educations as far as Cips are concerned, that gives you the skills to be relevant anywhere in the globe. Not just Nigeria, anywhere you want to go in the globe. The skills are benchmarked globally. The skills represent the global standard. And you'll know from practitioners who you speak to who have worked all around the world. I've certainly, in a procurement perspective, worked all across Europe, Middle East, Asia, Africa in a procurement capacity, but also worked across different industries. Telecoms, construction, oil and gas. What the Cips designation gives you is the ability to be relevant in procurement no matter what the country, jurisdiction, or in fact industry. So for those coming up in the ranks and want to continue to be part of this profession, keep it up. Relevance is important. For those here in Nigeria who are interested, we will see more of you, and we continue to give that commitment that we will be here, as we did yesterday when we had a quick meeting with the Director General of BPP, who we bumped into in the airport here in Port Harcourt on the way in. We bumped into the DG and had a quick meeting which reconfirmed our commitment to support the growth of Nigeria in being a leader in procurement in Africa and maybe later in the world as well. So enjoy today's program, enjoy today's event. There are some fantastic speakers, and at the end, I think my colleague Chukwudi will give you an update on what we're doing with the Cips Africa branch. But my final thing is just to thank the branch, because none of these events, none of these community events, none of these opportunity sharing or information sharing events happen without the tireless commitment of those branch committee members who are all here scattered around the room. They're doing a fantastic job. They're the most active branch and definitely the most recognized branch and most hard-working branch that we have out of the however many branches anywhere in the world. And that was acknowledged by our CEO when he was here recently. There is no other branch that is more active and proactive than the one here in Nigeria. So they really deserve that accolade, and I applaud you all. Thank you very much.
As you all know, Nigeria recently signed a new tax reform into law that has been the subject of quite a number of interesting conversations. Almost everywhere you turn to, there's some conversation around the new tax laws, the new tax regimes that will take effect from January, with all of the implication that it has and all of the interpretation that different practitioners have given to that law. This event today will focus a lot on cross-industry supply chain collaboration in a changing tax environment. And to begin, we'll have a keynote speech from someone who you would love to listen to. The last time I listened to her was probably in 2018 or so during one of the conferences we had, or 2019 I think. And that session was electrifying, interesting, informative, educative, and maybe I should add, insightful. Ladies and gentlemen, I crave your indulgence to please follow this session, follow her thoughts very closely. I'm so sure and very certain that you'll find some useful takeaway from this session as we'll take off. Would you please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Choma Okwechi, with a round of applause.
The Regional Director, the Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply, Mr. Sam Achampong, the Country Director, Cips Nigeria, Mr. Chukwudi Uche, the Branch Chair, Cips Nigeria, Mrs. Omotunde Oyenidi, distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, captains of industry, policy makers, members of the academia, students, ladies and gentlemen. Let me stand on every other protocol that has been established here. I really count it a privilege and indeed some kind of homecoming and a sense of pride to have a Cips symposium once again happening in Port Harcourt, my home base, the bedrock of the oil and gas industry in Nigeria. So to everyone who has been in the oil and gas industry, member of Cips in supply chain function, and then to our visitors from Lagos, on behalf of the oil and gas industry, we say welcome home, welcome to our home here in Port Harcourt in the Niger Delta. It's a privilege to stand here today to address this audience. I want to put a disclaimer here. When I saw the topic, the changing tax environment, I'm not a tax expert. And all of us have been trying to unpack these tax reforms. And for us in the oil and gas industry, It's not just about the tax reforms. It's not just about the new act. We are operating in an environment that is very complex. We have changing regulations. We have new aspects of compliance coming in. And what we will try to do this morning is to see how we can articulate those thoughts together and set the ball rolling. So there's still a lot that I need to understand. In my company, we have, for the past couple of weeks, been trying to unpack this act. First of all, how it impacts us as a supply chain function, how it impacts us as individuals, how it impacts us as a company, how it impacts us as an industry, how it impacts our vendor community. We just want to make sense of it all. So we may not have all the answers, but at least we will get the conversation going. Last week, we had a big session with the Nigerian Customs Service, and it was all about understanding import compliance. We wanted to understand what the customs are doing. We really wanted to have insight into their great Odogu system. So it was an eye-opening one, and we invited about 800 contractors and vendors at that session last week at the EUI Center. We wanted to make sense of it all. We needed to understand, we needed to know how to run with speed and with agility in this very complex environment. So once again, I thank the Regional Director of Cips and members of Cips for Nigeria and the organizers for giving me the privilege to address this symposium. It's an important gathering where the academia meets industry, where policy meets practical experience, and where we collectively shape the future of Nigeria's economic ecosystem. Today, we are reflecting on the topic of profound national importance: cross-industry collaboration in supply chains in a changing tax environment. What we want to explore this morning, we will kick off, is to explore how supply chains across different industries, including the oil and gas industry, can collaborate effectively within Nigeria's rapidly evolving tax and regulatory landscape. This is not just an operational issue, ladies and gentlemen. This is a strategic issue. It's about competitiveness, it's about national revenue stability, and it's about the resilience of our economic architecture. Let me talk about the new reality. The breaking news is that Nigeria's tax environment is in transition. Today, Nigeria is standing at a fiscal crossroad. In fact, fiscal crossroads. And you know what happens when you come to a crossroad? Most of the time when people come to crossroads, they are confused, where the road branches into several directions, and you need to know which direction to take, because you take the wrong turn, you end up at the wrong destination. That's where we are in Nigeria. We are at crossroads in our fiscal environment, and we just want to make sense out of it all. The government is aggressively pursuing revenue diversification. The regulators, they are tightening compliance. Digitalization is transforming reporting. Sector-specific incentives, they are shifting procurement patterns. And the private sector, including the public sector, we must adapt faster than ever before. We cannot afford to be sluggish. If you're sluggish, you lose the game. If you're sluggish, you get left behind. And this is part of the reason why we are having this conversation today. What are some of the key challenges we're facing now? Like I was asking this morning, whether, at what point in time, because we need somebody who is very, very knowledgeable in this tax environment to really, really unpack it for us, but we'll just do our best and to the best of our understanding. So I'll just mention some of the key changes. I had done some work, actually, before this conference. I didn't know to what extent we were going to deep dive. So I had tried to make sense, both from a procurement, from a supply chain product perspective, and then from a procurement perspective. I have developed a spreadsheet on the various responses, and I'm happy to share that with the Institute after now, in case anybody who wants to understand more, especially with regards to procurement. I'm happy to share that with the Institute so that we're all learning, so that it might help you in your organization. It might help you to make sense of it. But I will not be going into that level of detail now. Just keep to the topic, and happy to share whatever I have after. So what are the key changes? We're seeing more stringent VAT compliance, and permit me, I will not call it VAT after now, I'll call it VAT. That's the way we call it in Nigeria, VAT. So more stringent VAT compliance and narrower interpretation of input VAT deductions. We are witnessing an expansion of excise duties. There's the digital transformation of customs processes. Be Odogu. In fact, on a lighter note, my team, my supply chain team, I look after supply chain teams that are responsible for all of Renaissance. Renaissance is former Shell, SPDC. So previously in my role, I was looking after supply chains for all of production and logistics for Shell companies in Nigeria. Now I'm in Renaissance, so I look after supply chains for all of our producing assets in Nigeria. So we hosted an event, and one of the questions we asked for the recency effect was around B Odogu, Bodogu. Is it Odogu? Is it Odogu? We really just wanted to see whether people knew what this Odogu thing was. So there's a digital transformation of customs processes. There is the clarified tax treatment of logistics and contract services. I've just tried to lump it in a simpler form. There are very specifics around the 2% and the 5% and the 25%, And when maybe other speakers will want to talk more on that, maybe. There is the state level effort towards tax harmonization. There is the mandatory electronic invoicing for imports and exports. There is stricter enforcement in sectors like oil and gas, telecoms, manufacturing, and digital services. These reforms impact every link in the supply chain, from procurement to warehousing, from transport to distribution, from invoicing to audits. But despite these shared challenges, what we see is that supply chains often respond individually instead of collectively. This siloed approach is no longer sustainable. And whatever that I'm going to speak on now, in terms of what areas of collaboration, I want to mention that I have avoided any area of collaboration that has antitrust competition laws implications. So I will speak on the safe areas. Now, how are tax reforms shaping supply chain dynamics? I will speak a bit of this with specific sector examples. Now let us break down how specific tax reforms are changing supply chain operations with a deep dive into oil and gas alongside other industries. The first one, VAT reform and input VAT challenges. Under tightened VAT conditions, businesses must provide robust evidence to claim input tax. This affects manufacturers using multiple suppliers of raw materials. Logistics firms charging VAT on services but unable to claim inputs for certain operations. Fast-moving consumer goods companies with high volume inventories. Oil and gas operators, especially upstream, who face limits on allowable input VAT under petroleum-specific regulations. Let me give you an oil and gas example. An upstream operator importing drilling equipment may face VAT on rigs or spare parts. While VAT may be recoverable from some aspects of operations, service companies in well operations often struggle to claim VAT input due to exemptions and complex interpretations of taxable versus non-taxable activities. This affects pricing, contract structure, and asset acquisition strategies. When VAT reforms take long, cash flow gets trapped, trickling down to contractors, suppliers, and subcontractors. This is a cross-industry pain point that demands collaborative advocacy. Customs modernization and import duty compliance. The shift to electronic valuation, e-valuation, and e-classification aims to reduce under-declaration and streamline customs processes, but it has created new requirements. Digitally consistent documentation, real-time reporting, harmonized HS codes, accurate declaration across multiple stakeholders. Oil and gas companies or oil field service companies importing, for example, high specification tools like the MWD. MWD means measurement while drilling tools. And LWD tools, these are logging while drilling tools. Subsea equipment, they face new customs valuation audits. Misclassification can delay shipments at the port, adding demurrage costs and disrupting drilling timelines. In oil and gas, time is money. Every additional day of delay can cost millions of dollars in rig time and production loss. A customs documentation error by a freight forwarder affects the entire value chain. So this calls for supply chain integration between operators, service companies, freight forwarders, customs brokers, and regulators. Collaborative digital platforms and shared templates can drastically reduce errors. Remember that I'm talking in a broad sense about the changing tax environment. So you would have seen that I have brought the customs import duty compliance into the mix of the conversation. The expansion of excise duties. Excise duties now cover some aspects like sweetened beverages, certain intermediate goods, some manufactured items, energy products depending on classification. By the way, if you go to the customs website, you're going to find also a list of items that are customs exempt, custom duties exempt, import duties exempt. So manufacturing example, beverage companies now pay excise on products containing sugar, raising costs and influencing distribution models. Oil and gas example, downstream operators, particularly LPG and refined product importers, manage excise and levy implications that influence pump prices and retail margins. This affects pricing, inventory planning, and warehouse management. Withholding tax clarifications. New interpretations on withholding tax on contract manufacturing, haulage and logistics, warehousing, technical services. All these impact how supply chain partners negotiate contracts. In the oil and gas example, in the upstream sector, where contracts for drilling, marine logistics, fabrication, and engineering are complex, disputes on WHT applicability often arise. Incorrect WHT deductions can lead to unrecoverable credits, raising the total tax burden across the supply chain. This creates tension between operators and contractors, a problem solvable only through shared frameworks and cross-industry knowledge exchange. Multiple taxation and state-level harmonization. Transporters face haulage fees, road taxes, environmental levies, motor park charges, local government assessments, signage and advertising permits. A journey from Lagos to Kano can encounter several tax checkpoints. In the logistics example, this leads to delays, cost escalations, and risk of harassment. In an oil and gas example, oil field equipment transported from Port Harcourt to Warri or from Lagos to Bonny often passes through multiple tax jurisdictions. Each checkpoint increases turnaround time and operational costs. Cross-industry coalitions are essential to push for true harmonization. The next one is around digital tax compliance requirements. Electronic invoicing, digital reporting, e-audit trails and automation are now mandatory for many transactions. In the tech example, fintech companies are already digitized, but manufacturers and logistics providers are playing catch-up now. In the oil and gas example, operators require digital reporting for every stage of procurement. Contractors now need ERP systems that integrate tax calculations automatically. Manual invoicing is no longer acceptable. It's now past tense. This shift is creating a divide. Those with digital capabilities operate efficiently, while others struggle. Collaboration can help bridge this gap through shared tech infrastructure, training hubs, and cross-industry platforms. Let me speak a bit about local content laws and sector-specific incentives. So you can see that our tax environment, it's not just about the new Nigerian tax laws, the amendment that we just witnessed. It's about the complex ecosystem of our operating landscape. Local content requirements affect procurement decisions, contract awards, equipment for sourcing, and workforce planning. In the oil and gas example, local content rules mandate that a preference for Nigeria-owned service companies, local fabrication of certain components, limits on expatriate labor, and local sourcing of marine vessels. Approval requirements for importation of certain tools. These requirements must align with tax laws, customs duties, and customs rules and operational needs. A misalignment between tax incentives and local content processes creates delays and inefficiencies. The core problem, fragmentation. Despite facing common challenges, industries and companies respond in isolation. Oil and gas operators interpret regulations differently. Manufacturers face VAT and excise issues independently. Local logistics firms deal with multiple taxation alone. Banks manage compliance without integrating supply chain financing partners. SMEs navigate complex rules without guidance. Tech service providers build solutions without input from physical sector industries. This fragmentation increases costs, regulatory risk, audit exposure, operational delays, disputes, redundancy, data inconsistency, Nigeria as a national economy cannot operate efficiently when its supply chains remain disconnected. What is the opportunity that we have before us now, ladies and gentlemen? How do we survive? Cross-industry collaboration is what we must strive for, is what we must run towards, is what we must head towards. To thrive in this tax environment, we must foster collaboration across a joint tax knowledge hub or joint tax knowledge hubs, where stakeholders share regulatory updates, case studies, audit insights, interpretation clarification. For example, oil and gas companies can share VAT best practices with manufacturers who face similar issues. Remember, it's VAT best practices. We're not sharing competitive, commercially sensitive information. The other opportunities is shared digital infrastructure. We need interoperable systems for electronic invoicing, for customs documentation, for contract management, in quote, for VAT validation, for WHT and CIT tracking. Try to imagine a unified digital platforms where manufacturers upload invoices, logistics companies share tracking data, oil and gas contractors submit compliance documents, banks monitor transactions, regulators access audit trails. For those of us in the oil and gas industry, all of us know how we use the NIPEX platform, the Nigerian Petroleum Exchange platform that is hosted by the NNPC Limited. It's one platform. Everybody uses it. But the data applicable to certain organizations remain within a firewall, remain exclusive to that organization. This is the future. Standardized contract templates, especially in oil and gas, where contract structures are complex. Shared templates can reduce disputes on WHT, VAT, local content obligations, and transfer pricing. Joint advocacy coalitions. Industries must speak with one voice on VAT refund acceleration, customs harmonization, elimination of duplicate levies, digital tax system simplification, and incentives for compliant companies. When multiple industries speak together, policy listens faster. Education and capacity building. Universities must train graduates who understand supply chain tax compliance, digital documentation, customs processes, sector-specific regulatory environment, technology-enabled supply chain management. We need multidisciplinary leaders, not siloed specialists. What collaboration looks in practice, and I'm beginning to round up. In oil and gas, operators and contractors jointly build compliance dashboards. Standardization of VAT and WHT treatment across upstream and downstream contracts. Shared digital portals for submitting tax documents. Cross-company training on customs classification for drilling tools. In manufacturing, it can build shared distribution networks, collaborative forecasting to reduce excise-driven bottlenecks, cooperation with logistics firms for tax-optimized routing. In fast-moving consumer goods industries, co-located warehousing to reduce haulage taxes, joint advocacy on excise duty reform, shared ERP solutions for electronic invoicing. And in logistics, alliance-based route optimization, joint compliance training for drivers, shared service centers at state borders. In tech, building neutral platforms for cross-industry integration, providing API-based tax computation engines, offering digital audit trail solutions. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, a national opportunity. Nigeria can build more efficient supply chains, predictable compliance environments, and transparent tax systems. Nigeria has a choice. We can operate in silos and struggle, or we can collaborate and thrive. Ladies and gentlemen, professional colleagues, the academia, captains of industries here, policymakers, let's build a supply chain ecosystem where manufacturers collaborate with oil and gas operators. Logistics firms collaborate with regulators. Tech companies collaborate with physical industries. Academia collaborates with private sector. Businesses collaborate with each other. Let us transform tax compliance, this challenge, from a burden into a competitive advantage. Let us make Nigeria a model of integrated, compliant, efficient supply chain operations. The future belongs to economies that collaborate. Let us be one of them. Thank you very much.
One of the things that stood out of this presentation really is, one, the context that she has brought to this, especially in the light of the work that we do in supply chains. I particularly like this presentation because it addresses the challenges that we face in supply chain from a multi-dimensional perspective, vis-a-vis what these tax reforms will mean for us in the future. I like how she spoke about the impact on supplier relationship management, tax, documentation, compliance issues, and all of the dimensions that she brought into that presentation. very contextual and helps us understand how this applies to us as supply chain people. I like that presentation because it also addresses areas of opportunities. And why that is useful is also because she addresses the opportunities from a multi-dimensional point, addressing each pillar, every pillar strategically, and how the opportunities sit for us. I like the fact that that presentation also addresses what collaboration should look like in practice. Because it's easy to say collaborate, but nobody really defines what collaboration should be in practice. On the side of logistics, on the side of shared technology, and I like the reference to the NIPEX platform and everything that that presentation represented. I also like the concluding part of that presentation that highlights the potential impact of what collaboration could achieve for the government, for corporate organizations in specific terms. She talked about it from the profitability point, from the tax point, regulatory side of things, and quite a lot of very significant touch points in that presentation. I liked how that presentation closed with a call to action detailing specific actions that we can take to ensure that across industry divides, from FMCG to oil and gas, we can collaborate so that we can scale without compromising on company-sensitive commercial information. I think that presentation was very holistic. I think that presentation went down to the very nitty-gritty of the details. I also personally think that maybe we will, with our permission, get that presentation. I'll probably ask CIPS to share with our members after this event. But that presentation was very insightful, and I really would like you guys to give Mrs. Chioma another round of applause. I believe that presentation will help us, and that's the reason why we have the CIPS community consisting of people across different industries, and also at different levels of experiential maturity, from entry level to C-suite executive. Maybe one of the things that we'll do as takeaway at the end of this event is probably engage further, brainstorm further, and see where there are opportunities for collaboration across industry divide, and see what we can do to optimize opportunities for collaboration. As a way of appreciating Mrs. Chioma, will present a token to her on behalf of the branch. So I will call Sam to please present this award to Mrs. Chioma Okwechi for that presentation. My attention has been drawn to the need for us to have a tea break. I hope you don't mind. This is 11 a.m., so I think it's just about the right time to have tea, because beyond this point we'll probably already be preparing for lunch. So if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you to please reach out. We have tea at the back of the hall. It doesn't require you to step outside of the facility. So we have, Dan will coordinate that. Grab tea over the next, you can just take that and come back to your seat if you want to, and then we can continue this session. Dan, I hope that helps. That helps. Okay, cool. So, as I did highlight earlier, we are excited that we have students in our midst, and that means a lot for the future of our profession. I'm hopeful that in the course of the sessions today, you will draw inspiration to pursue your aspirations with as much vigor as you can get, as you can summon. But just to make this session a bit exciting for you, we will have a few trivia here and there, not all at once in the course of the program. Just ask a few random questions to spur your interest, and we will be giving you a token of appreciation for those of you who get the questions correctly. Is that helpful? Good. While others are trying to grab tea, can I ask one of you to give me the full meaning of CIPS? Okay, I will do ladies first. There are 3 hands, so the lady first. Where's Queen? Can I get a microphone? Okay, but before you get the microphone, can you tell me, yes, what's the meaning of CIPS? Chartered Institute of Purchasing and Supply. Is that correct? No. Yes?
Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply.
A round of applause for him, please. According to CIPS, good procurement practices should always ensure. You've gone for option A, supplier convenience. Unfortunately, that's not correct.
Sorry.
Okay, so I think you were the second person that raised your hand.
Option B.
Option B. According to CIPS, good procurement practice should always ensure value for money. That's correct. Okay?
Congrats.
Impact on cross-border sourcing decisions. Okay? What type of tax has the biggest impact on cross-border sourcing decisions? Option A, service consumption tax. Option B, custom and import duties. Option C, local property tax. Option D, capital gains tax. Okay, so why some of you didn't allow me to finish reading the option? You said raising your hand. You already know the answer before the options came.
Custom and import tax.
Customs and import duty tax has the biggest impact on cross-border sourcing decision. That is correct.
The speakers here present, other distinguished personnel here present, members of the academia, the student community here, other members of the CIPS, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jamaibi Thanks Nombere. I'm a quantity surveyor and I work with the Rivers State Bureau on Public Procurement. Now, the Rivers State Bureau on Public Procurement has been in existence since 2008 as the Rivers State Public Procurement Law was enacted, and the Bureau was set up as a custodian of the Rivers State Public Procurement Law. And the Bureau has been actively involved in training of procurement officers, those who we see as implementing or spending government money. You know, we know procurement, when we talk about procurement, we have private and public procurement. But public procurement has to do with the acquisition of goods, works and services using public funds. And that is why it is very critical to ensure that whatever procurement that is delivered gives value for money. And that is what the River State Bureau on Public Procurement stands for. Ensuring that whatever procurement that is undertaken, that it gives fitness for purpose, because you cannot carry out a procurement and it is not fit for the purpose. And key things that the Bureau requires for every procurement is ensuring that the statement of purpose, the statement of impact, and the sustainability plan are well defined before the procurement itself is being carried out. Believing that when this is done, and in line with the fundamental principles of procurement as enshrined in the public procurement law, that is going to deliver value for money. I was smiling when the moderator asked a question about to the students, and one of that which the CIPS also stands for is that the procurement should deliver value for money. Now, value for money does not mean that you're buying a cheap commodity, that you're awarding contract to the least bidder. That's not value for money. That's not what it stands for. It's more like combination of quality and the best price. The Director General has given me the mandate to briefly deliver a speech, or if you like, a goodwill message for her. She would have loved to be here herself, but due to other state assignments that is taking her time, so she had asked me. So I will just quickly read her goodwill message. It is with great pleasure that I deliver this speech on this timely and transformative symposium with the theme Cross-Industry Supply Chain Collaboration in a Changing Tax Environment. As global markets evolve and tax reforms reshape the cost structures of businesses, the need for strategic collaboration across industries has never been more urgent or demanding. In a complex tax environment, no single industry can thrive in isolation. Collaboration across sectors unlocks shared value and resilience. Therefore, the main objective of this symposium to bring together industry leaders, policymakers, academics, and professionals to explore how cross-industry supply chain collaboration can enhance trade efficiency, logistics performance, and overall competitiveness in an evolving tax environment is a welcome development. We are witnessing unprecedented disruptions in supply chains driven by geopolitical tensions, climate change, digital transformation, and post-pandemic recovery. At the same time, governments are recalibrating tax policies to boost revenue, incentivize local production, and align with sustainability goals. These changes are not just regulatory, they are strategic. Tax now plays a pivotal role in shaping supply chain decisions, from sourcing and manufacturing to distribution and pricing. In Nigeria, recent tax reforms have prompted manufacturers, logistics firms, and retailers to rethink their supply chain models. Collaborative platforms are emerging to share best practices, reduce costs, and align with government incentives. To harness the full potential of cross-industry collaboration, businesses must, 1, map tax impacts across the value chain. They must understand how tax changes affect sourcing, how it affects pricing, and then distribution. 2, build transparent partnerships, share data, share risks and rewards with trusted partners. 3, leverage technology, use digital platforms for real-time visibility, compliance, and scenario planning. 4, engage policymakers. Advocate for tax policies that support collaborative innovation and inclusive growth. amongst others. In a world of volatility and complexity, collaboration is not just a luxury, it is a necessity. By working across industries and aligning supply chain strategies with evolving tax realities, we can build systems that are not only efficient and resilient, but also equitable and future-ready. Let us seize this moment to forge partnerships that transcend boundaries and deliver shared prosperity. I believe that the Rivers State Bureau on Public Procurement is open to greater collaboration with the CIPS, and I hope the regional director will find time to have this come to bear so that the states will benefit from what the CIPS is doing. Thank you very much, and I wish us all fruitful deliberations.
Delivering that goodwill message. One of the things that I can maybe say with some level of confidence, and the good thing is that Chukwudi is here while I say it. One of the things I can say with some level of confidence and certainty is that CIPS will work with the Rivers State Bureau of Public Procurement. Over the last few months, specifically within this year, we've done some work ably led by Chukwudi, who is now country director for CIPS in Nigeria. We've done some work with the Bureau for Public Procurement at the federal level. We did sign a memorandum of understanding. I'm sure you'll hear details about that later on. We are also doing the same thing with the Lagos State Bureau for Public Procurement. And there's a machinery in place to ensure that we sign off on the MOU we're currently working on over the next couple of days. As a matter of fact, it was supposed to have happened on Monday this week. But my point is just to give you comfort that we are constantly looking for opportunities to partner with governments and strategic procurement regulatory agencies like the Rivers State Bureau for Public Procurement. And with the work that Chukwudi is leading and will be leading, we will get to that level of collaboration, and hopefully in the next couple of weeks or maybe months, we will get an MOU in place and have much more stronger visibility for CIPS within the Rivers State Bureau for Public Procurement. I believe that will happen. I'm very confident about that. But rest assured that when you give our feedback, when you give our thank you message back to the DG, that there's a firm commitment on our part that will make that happen. Thank you once again for joining this session, and we really do appreciate your time. Ladies and gentlemen, to take the conversation on collaboration further, we want to have the next presentation which really focuses on shared warehousing, logistic hubs, and resource optimization as a next level collaboration model. To take this presentation, our next speaker has been itching to come up stage, and it gives me great privilege and honor to introduce Mr. Ibrahim Oseni as he comes on stage to make his presentation. Would you please give him a round of applause? Thank you very much. The better you clap, the faster he comes.
I'd like to acknowledge the presence of all dignitaries and everyone right here in this hall today. When I was called to come and speak in the CIPS event today by my very good friend and classmate in the UK, Daniel Bassi, I told him, you know, it's a Wednesday, we're all busy, we have a lot of stuff to do in the office. And he told me one thing that I could not say no. He said, remember when we were students in the UK, we told ourselves that when we come back to Nigeria, we're going to push CIPS to the next level. So if I'm calling you to come and speak today, remember what you said many years ago. And I said, all right, you got me, I'm going to speak. I don't have a choice. So that's what brought me here today. So I'd like to thank the organizers that have put this together. everyone who is present here today, my co-speakers, my colleagues in the office, and all the students who are the next level supply chain professionals that come here today. I think your presence here today matters a lot, so I'd like all of us to put our hands together for ourselves. A very important topic we're discussing here today, which is the cross-industry supply chain collaboration in a changing tax environment. So my own presentation will be streamlining down. I would like to use the projector, so permit me to come down to use the screen. Better supply chain. Most times, our importance in any organization is underestimated, regardless of all we do. And without us, the chain is never complete. So it's important to understand that we play a very significant role in any organization, and our presence matters most. So when I talk to my colleagues in the office, maybe people were chatting around, I say, you see, the procurement and the supply chain is a hub. And what does that mean? People come to us to spend their money for them. When there are projects, when there are operations, they come to procurement, be it material procurement or service procurement. So we, as the hub, have the right to spend the money in a good way or the other way. So in this environment where taxes are rising, Madam Choma mentioned something about the custom duties. There is what we've been battling with for the past couple of months now, the change from the NICES, that's the custom portal, to Biodogu. And recently, they've added the 4% FOB. So for every single thing you import into the country, you pay additional 4% tax. You and I don't have a change. We don't have a say over that. I spearheaded several meetings to meet the controller in OGFZA to how can we pull this out? Because, I mean, we in the oil and gas industry, we participate in the about 90 to 95% of the derivative for the country. So why do you want to increase our tax? We spent a couple of months and we tried several meetings. Eventually, they came out with a communication stating that it's only applicable, the exemption is applicable to manufacturers, not people in the oil and gas industry. Manufacturers and those that bring in life-saving materials and stuff like that. So we are forced to progress with processing our powers and stuff like that on the custom portal with additional 4% tax. So these are things that you and I don't have a control over. But as procurement professionals, what do you think we have control over? How we allow money go out of this hub, which we control. So when people come to meet you to want to procure something or want to go into a project, you have a say in how the money goes out. So that tells us that we all in the procurement profession have a say in how this story ends. You want it to end well, or you just want it to end in the way you like. So it tells us now. I'm going to streamline down to my presentation today. So I hope this, So we'll be exploring the supply chain collaboration models. There are innovative strategies I'll be presenting to you, and how we're going to go about it. So I have segmented the presentation into 4 different areas: the shared warehousing, the concept and benefits. I'll talk about the logistics hub as collaborative centers. Also, I'll be talking about resource optimization strategies in supply chain collaboration and implementation into the future. So, before I go into the next presentation, I want you to take a look at, I'd like you to take a look at this. So you all want to pay attention to this because I'll make reference to it at the end of the presentation. And if I call on anyone, you cannot remember what I said about this, that shows you're probably going to be withdrawn from MCIPS. Just a joke. Right. So, shared warehousing concept and benefits. In shared warehouse, multiple companies today come together to share warehouse. It was in those days people want to own the whole warehouse space. You really don't need that. People rent out space today in order to generate more money. I work with Intels on daily basis in One, even Ladol in Lagos. I was part of the team like 2015 where we sat down to discuss the IWST contract. I know, just to break down, the IWST means the industry-wide standard tariff contract, where different IOCs came together to discuss on how we can share utilization of a logistic hub, logistic base, which is Intel. And that IWST really helped because everybody sat down on a round table to discuss what is going to function for them, what is going to help them, working together, sharing resources together. So, the operational benefit of shared warehouses, obviously you have shared warehouse optimization. Your cost is going to be lower if you share space. Rather than owning everything, providing electricity, providing all the lifting equipment, the trucks, You want to share this among yourselves. That helps to drive your cost down. Always remember, like I said in the beginning of my presentation, we control the hub that allows money go out of the organization. So we want to control the outflow of money. If we don't have 100% control on the tax, we can control how we allow money go out from our respective organization. What else is the advantage, operational benefit? It enhances operational agility for users, where I don't think another company might think positive about that. And of course, we share those ideas together. The management and the agreement, how do you make this possible for yourself? It depends on the agreement you put together. You're going to say, of course, we're a different organization. Of course, you are all working in the same industry. I use the oil and gas industry as an example. There's a new word called competition, not competition, co-opetition, where you all are working in the same industry, you are competitors, but you work together to benefit yourself. These are areas you should be looking at. What are these people doing in their own area where we share space or we have shared resources that I can also tap from? So would you have challenges and risks in managing shared warehouses? Of course, yes, there will be. Security concern, for instance, you have an open warehouse used by different companies. How safe are your materials are going to be when you're not there? Maybe the weekends, the other company works 24/7, you work Monday to Friday. How do you think your materials are going to be safe when you're not there? Definitely there are security concerns, the inventory accuracies, the coordination complexity. It poses a challenge. Of course, don't get me wrong, there will definitely be challenges, but you have to weather through the storm. So what are the risk management strategies? You implement a clear and robust contract agreement. This is very key. I mentioned the IWST contract, which we did with Intel's several IOCs. This is very key from beginning. In the terms and conditions, you have to ensure you bring your best foot forward to ensure what you want in your organization is well captured. You have to use technology for transparency, and you have to establish shared governance mechanism. This is very key for your functionality with other people. I go to the logistics hub as a collaborative center, and in the logistics hub, there are roles and structures of logistics hubs, right? For you to share same space, having a central logistics hub, remember, it is very important, sorry I went too fast, it's very important to have a centralized facility function. This serves as a location where you have a stored area for your storage. I make an example, let me give a good example of last year I was on a logistics engineering training in Masta in France, and I had the opportunity to visit the Jodis warehouse. And in the Jodis warehouse, when we got in, some people were trying to take pictures, and they said, sorry, you cannot. Why? Because they have shared space for different clients. And with their clients, they've had an agreement whereby, sorry, they don't allow their product to be out there. So it's a confidential agreement they've had, and they maintained it. So you have to understand that a central facility in the functioning agreement it matters most. Seamless flow of design. This is very, very important for any logistics hub. I use an example of Antwerp. Yes, for instance, Antwerp is a seaport in Belgium where they have over 800 destinations they go to. Vessels go on daily basis to over 800 destinations, and you have several players there. Imagine they don't have a seamless flow of design. Definitely there is going to be a lot of problems. As vessels are leaving, they are coming back. So you have to ensure when you're sharing logistics hub, you have to ensure the structure is well designed to fit into a seamless flow of design. Then mutual connectivity. An example I'm going to give again is in France. There's a refinery called La Med in the south of France, yeah? And the way it's designed is that they have the rail system pass through that refinery. So anytime they have product to load out, it's not just them. There's a certain time where when the rail is passing, everybody knows their specific time and loading time. They've designed that to have what we call the multimodal connectivity. And of course, collaborative operation, you have to work with people to share space. This is very key, right? So there are integration of multiple partners and services. So collaborative partner integration is very, very key. Every hub must unify a manufacturer and player. You must have space for people to play, people to operate in, right? So if you're designing this to work with people, always put this in mind on behalf of your company. There has to be technology-driven coordination. This is very key. A lot of speakers here have mentioned here today. both Madam Choma as also the person who represented the DG. Technology is very key in what we do today. As I go on, I'll tell you more about the Internet of Things, how that works in supply chain. Of course, we have the supply chain of things, which is called the SCOT. And then optimized routing and inventory. Integral system optimize routing decision and inventory management to enhance efficiency. This is very key when you're putting this together. So, the success impact of logistics hub collaboration. What do you benefit from this? There definitely will be improved delivery performance for you. This is very key. And to the discussion of today, cost, reduce benefits. Remember, like I said from the beginning, we are the hub that controls how money goes out. So we want to control how we spend money on behalf of our organization. So yeah, cost reduction benefits, that's one of the things you benefit. Then innovation through partnership. Public-private partnership is the key thing. I give you an example, compare MMA 1 and MMA 2. In Lagos, the airports, the two, you have your answer of public partner partnership. So it is very, very important. Like it's done in Ladol, Intels, and some other hubs in the world. So, the other part is resource optimization strategy in supply chain collaboration. Pulling resources for cost efficient share warehouse, we still repeat this over and over again. I give you an example of Ladol and Ladol. The way Ladol is set up, you have Exxon, Total, Shell, working in the same space, but well defined. So this is very key. Collaborative transport fleet. An example I'm going to give you again is if you work in the oil and gas free zone in One today, if you have an MOU to, like the company I work for have an MOU with OGFZ in One, and the MOU and bond we have with them mandates them that when we have shipments land airports in Port Harcourt, we don't need to get trucks plying the road every day. What we do is that we have an MOU with them. OGFZ has a truck that goes to the airports every day. Now they've just increased to 2 trucks 2 months ago. So they have shared space on the truck. When your shipment lands the airport, they pick it, put it on the truck, take it to OGFZ, they deliver it to your warehouse, you start your custom clearance. So that helps you rather than you controlling all fleets. You want to have multiple fleets flying the road to the airport. We did that in the past where we need to hire vendors to do that for us. But there was always a lot of stories around my truck broke down, stuff like that. I'm on the way. What do we do to improve this? We sign an MOU with OGFZ and they pick our shipments from the airport straight to our yard and we start the custom clearance. So please, you need to understand that collaborative transport fleet is very important. Of course, while doing that, your labor resource sharing, you put that in place. So technology-driven optimization method, you cannot run away from technology today. What we talk about the Internet of Things, we talk about the supply chain of things. I've been around like 3 different warehouses for my company, Lagos here and stuff and one other place, to assess how if we work in a very, very seamless way. I found out that some places we use what we call the SCOT. One of my members said, one of my colleagues knows what I'm talking about. The SCOT is a supply chain operation technology device that when you have a shipment, before you put it into the bin location, while trying to tag it, you don't manually tag it because it's auto-generated. But once the label is put on that device, when next you need to use it, all you need to do is to scan it. The moment you scan it, it tells you the number of those materials in the bin location. And the moment you take it out, you automatically deduct from what you have. So if somebody's trying to pick a material in the warehouse, it's real time, it's on time. The moment he checks, you see the exact quantity. Imagine doing it manually. Somebody does it manually and probably he decides to pick out a material at about 4 p.m. close of work. And he said, don't worry, I'm going to update it the next day. And maybe there's a blockade or there's a strike or something, doesn't do that for the next 1-2 days. And somebody offshore is trying to pick a material. The moment he goes there, he sees the wrong quantity because you've picked out some. So Internet of Things is very, very important in everything we do. And then route optimization, this is very key in everything you do. Real-time visibility, just like I explained. Then, of course, dynamic resource allocation. This helps a lot in anything you're trying to design as a group. Sustainability and environmental impact. We all know that this is key. This is the in thing. Everything we design now have to be in line with sustainability. Today, we have EV trucks in Europe. We have trucks that are being charged with electricity. You have to be concerned with the environment, zero carbon emission. Down to Nigeria, we have some CNG trucks today that some of the companies are using that reduces emission and reduces their spend on trucking, by so doing reducing the money that goes out of their home. So sustainability is very key in everything we do. You have to optimize your transport loads, and in collaborative supply chain optimizes transport load. Like in company I work for anybody doing freighting for us, you don't do 50% container load and send to Nigeria. That's totally unacceptable. In the contract, you do minimum 70% to 90% container load. That helps us to optimize our transport load. And of course, you have to consolidate shipment. We also consolidate. We have a hub, the freight forwarder working for us called Seva. It used to be Bolloré. They have a hub in Antwerp. That's their consolidation hub. So you don't pick up a shipment and send straight to Nigeria. No, it's not cost effective. You have to be cost effective. Remember, like I always say, to control what goes out of your organization. And of course, green technology adoption. You have to ensure your supply chain is green now. Remember, there was a time I read that the maritime industry contributes about 3% to the global carbon emission. And if not curbed, by 2050 it's going to increase to 50%. So if you're consolidating, make sure it's well optimized to reduce emission. And the last part of my segmentation is implementation and future trends. So the key steps for implementing and collaborating: shareholder alignment. You all have to be the same, you have to be aligned. Clear governance, everybody needs to know where their job starts from, how you share space, so you don't cross border, and of course you don't infringe into people's privacy. Technology integration, very, very key. Performance monitoring, you have to monitor whatever you're doing in order to track the progress in what you're doing. So are there challenges in adopting solution? Definitely trust issues. People are going to be a bit wary. Why will I share space with you? Are you sure my material space? Yeah, that's true. You have to consider that in your agreement. Data sharing concern. I remember it was a time a freight forwarder was asking me if they can have access to our ERP tool. And I says, no, hell no, you can't. I'm sorry, you can't. Our ERP tool manages beginning to the end, including payments in our organization. I'm not going to integrate you into it. So what did we have to do? We had to branch out and create an ERP that works with them. You know, what they want is that when you create a purchase order, they should automatically receive it in their company so they can know what to do immediately. Oh, sorry, we can't give you access to that. But we created something for them, which immediately the purchase order is created and assigned to any freight forwarder, they get that notification. So you need to work out something that works for you all. Operational complexity, definitely there will be complexity because as you're all working together, remember the word I said, co-opetition, you have different systems, so complexities will be there, but you need to work it out if truly you want to save cost. And the very interesting one, innovative trend shaping the future of supply chain, blockchain for traceability. Blockchain is the next thing, helps you end-to-end traceability. You can't rule that out. And of course, autonomous vehicle. Remember the first picture I showed you guys to be aware about, where you saw like a crane putting something automated? That's what we call autonomous vehicle. It's gonna get there, maybe not in Nigeria now. You saw what happened a few minutes ago when Madam Chuma was presenting, the light went off. So imagine you're in an operational mode and light goes off. But we're gonna get there, yeah? So, but people have started using that in warehouses in the world where autonomous vehicle pick items and straight down into the cart. This is already in existence and we don't want to be left out, yeah? And yeah, so the last part, concluding my presentation, is advancing supply chain collaboration for efficiency, cost saving, remember that word, and sustainability. You have to collaborate in supply chain model. This is very key in order to save costs. This is the part we CIPS professionals can control. You have to practice resource optimization consciously. You have to, in order to save money for your company in this tax environment that is growing. And the other part, efficiency and resilience. Remember what happened in COVID. Remember those that didn't have a resilient supply chain. It was a lot of disruption for them. So whatever you're putting in place, ensure you mark out your efficiency and your resilience in everything you do. I know that definitely what we do as professionals in supply chain is difficult. It's not easy, right? So whenever, I must say, I conclude by saying that the challenges before us are great. The work before us is hard. Whenever we are trying to do everything we can to make supply chain easy for the organization we work for, let us all remember that when the tests and trials becomes too big or too many, remember the very good words of Nelson Mandela, which I've held for many decades now. It always seems impossible until it's done. Remember, remember, and remember. Together, everyone achieves more if we all work together as a team. Thank you very much.
I'll invite the branch chair to please present this to Mr. Ibrahim Hussein. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please join me welcome Dr. Williams Odewinge. A round of applause, please. Could you please do better with that round of applause, please? Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Country chair, country manager. I want to start out as it's a protocol. I really appreciate all of us to gather here today. When I was told I was presenting, I told myself that I'm coming to learn. Why am I coming to learn? As a teacher, I learn from my students, and my students also learn from me. I've learned a lot today, from the first presenter to the last presenter so far. Before I climb this podium, I actually appreciate all of you with your valid contribution, which you made practical. Now, the issue of tax regime is beyond compliance. We need to unlock the supply chain value through our cross-industry collaboration. This team was aptly chosen because when the new tax regime was announced, I think some people's BP went up. Even as we speak, it is still a challenge for many people. Fear of the future. What is it going to be? How is the tax going to affect me? As supply chain people, we need to sit tight. Sit tight to do what? To find out areas that we can add value to the system so that our company can continue to exist, not just exist, to survive, not just to survive, but to achieve the triple bottom line. To protect people, to protect the environment, which is the earth, and also to make profits. This is very, very key. And that brings the big question to us. What is cross-industry supply chain collaboration? Why is it necessary in a changing tax environment? When I was interacting with some tax experts, some of them think that they can do it all alone. And I told them, you can't unless you collaborate. If a tax expert does not collaborate with an accountant, you cannot get your figures. You cannot get your figures. And if they don't collaborate with the industry themselves, with the service provider, they cannot get the information they want. They want to tax you. You have to provide the information. They know quite well that you have the right to avoid tax, but you cannot evade it. Tax evasion is not good, but you can avoid tax. When you keep your record where you are documenting things that will make you not to pay too much. Now, industry need to collaborate very, very well to succeed. And when you talk of collaboration, you are looking at all the activities in supply chain where an industry supply chain can think of working with other industry supply chain. For example, the fast-moving consumer goods industry collaborating with supply chain in the oil and gas. Supply chain, we must remember, is supply chain anywhere, anytime, no matter the industry. So we can always borrow a leaf from each other's operational model. And we can leverage on it, working together to achieve a great goal. The successes behind large organizations depend on how cooperative, how collaborative organizations are. either vertically or horizontally. Now, when the companies come together, in the oil and gas, for example, Total, watch your supply chain and then see how it is in Nestle and see how it is in other organizations. Then you can come together and see how you can perform, how you can deliver your activity to the benefit of your organization. There are key benefits if you collaborate. When the last speaker was talking, he talked about the organization not moving anything when the load is below 70%. But when the load is 50%, they don't move. When you're managing logistics, you have food truck load, FTR. It is meant to save money. It is meant to add value to the process of delivering goods, especially. And I tell you that for most organizations I've consulted for, what I recommend for them is full truck load. They don't move. Maybe La Sienne company in Port Harcourt here is moving things to Ahoda, but the customer request is just about 60% full of the truck. They can collaborate with Coca-Cola to fill the rest space, so that the vehicle, instead of going with half load, go with full load. When you enhance innovation, you bring together diversity, expertise, technology, and other parts that will help you deliver collaboratively. Collaborative operation through cross-industry is actually solution-driven. It's actually there to put value on your table. Now, what can be the result? Faster product development if you're a manufacturer, faster cycle time deliveries, better competitive edge, and higher profits. Now, the goal of every supply chain is to reduce costs and to increase service. Your service level must never go down, especially as the due trust regime is on the way. Your goal is to drive efficiency in order to reduce costs, using modern technology, using full capacity of production, storage at 100% level in the warehouse. As just mentioned, Amazon have been doing this for years. Amazon as an organization store things for different companies. They are not manufacturers. And other companies come to store with them, paying for spaces. And they design their spaces to be fully utilized by charging you to pay for square meters. Now, when they host different organizations, they now market for those organizations. They help organizations to promote their brands. With that collaboration from different industries, then you can see the move and the strength of Amazon. This is what we're talking when we talk about cross-industry collaboration. You have access to new markets. Everybody wants to run away from where tax is very high. All of us knew companies that were in Nigeria before who had left, especially Michelin and Dunlop. If you go to Tema in Ghana, as my brother can tell us, you will see how they are performing. You see the factory there, I have been there, and you know that Nigeria have lost a lot to Ghana. We mismanage a relationship and collaborative effort with Michelin and Dunlop. We must not invest money there before we collaborate. Relationship building matters a lot in collaboration. The risk management and the resilience is another area that we can collaborate very well. If we have known what we're going to miss, we won't allow Michelin to go. But we didn't think deep. Supply chain people think faster than where they are. We are here today, we are thinking of years ahead. What should pilot supply chain and what supply chain should deliver? That is why anywhere we find ourselves, we don't joke with the next generation. As you can see, these youngsters here, they are supply chain leaders of tomorrow. We carry them along so that they can grow with us and grow more than us. Usually, it makes me happy when I see my students growing more than me. When we collaborate, we add value in what area? Better management of demand forecasting, better management of inventory, stronger relationship and brand reputation building. This is what collaboration can bring. When Choma was talking, she mentioned the collaboration with Custom. Custom is not oil and gas company. Custom is an agency of federal government. They are public servants. Why collaborating with them? Collaboration brings a lot of benefit to the table. Do not ignore anybody. In those days, procurement and supply chain experts see contractors, suppliers as beggars. Today, we collaborate with them. Today, we grow with them. We see them as partners in progress. For without them, all of us have no job. Now, if without suppliers and contractors, we have no job because we cannot do it ourselves, we must now collaborate with them. We must unite with them. As long as we are not breaking ethical codes of conduct, we work hand in hand with them. We are like drivers and passengers. If a driver gets to the motor park and there's no passenger, the driver is jobless for that day. And that's how it will be. We cannot render services, we cannot provide goods without contractors and suppliers. We must, in all aspects, collaborate with our suppliers and contractors. I was very happy when Choma mentioned the Renaissance. They trained suppliers. Yes, back then we used to have supplier forums. We educate them. We have local market development. We develop our suppliers. Let them grow with us so that they can deliver our service. We even train them on use of computer when computer was nowhere. And today, some of them are more expert than those of us who taught them how to operate computer. That is the brand reputation that we need to build with strong relationship. When somebody in a street is very rich and feel that he is sustainable because he can provide everything for himself, and those around him are living an abject life, abject poverty, is that man who thinks he's sustainable safe? No. A man is a function of his environment, and so you must practice what is sustainable not just to you but for your environment also. The operating environment in every industry needed collaboration because we cannot have everything that we need. We must collaborate with others to get what we don't have, while they also, on the other hand, collaborate with us to get what they don't have. Tax incentives and contractual flexibility and openness provided by many countries is very important for us to develop in technology and supply chain applications. Some organizations use SAP and they share SAP platform with some of their stakeholders. That is collaboration. I remember back then, when I was in Shell, we have a platform where NNPC NAPIMS had to see our major contracts. When we are submitting something for tender board in NAPIMS, we send it on SAP. They see it in advance, prepare, so that when we get there, it makes work seamless. That is collaboration and transparency. We want to share our system with those who are necessary, not just everybody. Some will just have a portal to view. They cannot change what you have done. Yes, it helps workflow. It helps deliver faster. Now, the task efficient system of supply chain, as is going to be implemented in a few days' time in Nigeria, we need to understand how it affects us. How does it affect us? The government is trying to standardize the tax system with other developed countries. This is a welcome development. And I said, provided the implementation is well done. If the implementation is well done, it is going to help me and you. So don't fear, because the system is going to protect those any low, while it's going to sap from those any high and balance it. Not just in terms of payee, but in terms of every aspect of service providers or providing services. Now, those in the multinational organization or very big organization, I say again, you need to wear shorts. What I mean is that you need to buckle up, because the big hammer of tax is coming. And because of that, collaboration will help. Multinationals with revenue reported in multi-regional countries will be affected. Organizations with high movement of voluminous merchandise will be affected. High domestic and effective tax rates protecting infant industry will be implemented. Decentralization of operation with complex global supply chain and distribution models, we need to collaborate better with others in the industry so that they will enjoy the tax system. Significant research and development is very key, because it will emphasize on training and retraining. We need a lot of training to cope with the new tax system. The Federal Institute of Taxation is working hand in hand with the government to help them regulate area to subpedal. And between now and its implementation, come 1st January, a lot of adjustment is ongoing, and the tax reform will be fully interpreted very soon. Those of you organizations who don't have tax consultants, please be warming up. Collaborate with tax consultants. Collaborate with accountants that are also taxation professionals. Some accountants are members of Federal Institute of Taxation, and also they are members of Federal Institute of Accounting, ICANN. We in the supply chain cannot be separated from collaborating with Chartered Institute of Taxation. We want to collaborate with tax experts in order to deliver fully, without compromise and without sidestepping the rule. We should not play smart. Unethical tax practices can land us where we do not expect. We must watch out for that, because our action can indict our organization and it can make it non-existent. There are a few companies we used to hear in those days that are no more in existence. Companies like Panapina, Webros, and so on. And you will not like the organization to be like that. Will you? Now, in implementing the new tax regime in Nigeria, come January 1, the new tax environment, when properly implemented, will be promising for Nigerian businesses, and it is going to protect infant and growing industry, as I mentioned earlier. Now, let's see areas where the government has worked so far to let us know if we belong to this area. We don't want to panic. There will be no tax on basic food items. There will be no tax on rent for residential purpose. Educational services and material, there will be no tax. Health and medical services, pharmaceutical products, these are areas that will be tax-free. Small companies with annual turnover below 100 million. Diesel, petrol, kerosene, solar power, and equipment will be tax-free. Purchase, lease, hire, and agricultural equipment. Disability aids, hearing aids, wheelchairs, and the rest will be tax-free. Commercial passengers vehicle, not on charter, will be tax-free. Electric vehicle and parts is being encouraged, so there will be no tax on them. So go and buy electric car. Humanitarian supplies, relief material, etc. will be tax-free. Baby products, so you can have many children as you want. Land and building, electric money transfers below 10,000 naira, no charge. Intra-bank transfer, no charge. You are operating with UBA, and you are transferring from UBA to another person in UBA, no charge. Any amount, no charge. But just try cross to another bank, then you will be charged. Actually, each of these steps you have been mentioning, there are various supply chain activity, because every activity on earth is supply chain based. Be you an engineer, whatever, architect, wherever you belong, you are either rendering a service or buying goods. As a supply chain person that all of us are across the world, we must watch each activity we get involved to ensure we collaborate where possible in order to add value in the chain. If you don't add value, then you don't want to be in the industry. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof, for taking the discussion further beyond compliance. Would you please be kind enough as to give Prof another round of applause? Again, as a way of appreciation, I'd like to invite Chukwudi Uche to please present this token of appreciation to Prof. Incidentally, both Chukwudi is a prof, and Prof is also a prof. Alright, Prof, please come on. Active member of the CIPS community for over 30 years. He's been an active member of the Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply before some people here were born. I mean, so this is a Prof's appreciation message. Just to say, Prof, we thank you for your contribution to the procurement community in Nigeria. CIPS has decided to confer on you the CIPS Lifetime Member Award. This is very significant, and I can tell you that there are probably only very few people in the world who have achieved this kind of award. I'm pleased to invite our regional director for Africa, Middle East, and Asia Pacific, and the branch chair to come up stage to present him that award.
How interesting is this? There's, I think, as Harrison said, I can count on, I guess, my 2 hands the number of people around the world of the over 70,000 current-ish members that can demonstrate a commitment and continuous membership over 30 years. That's incredible. So I think we're going to give several rounds of applause, but this really is an incredible achievement that we probably want to hear the biggest round of applause of the day so far for Prof. So please. It's my distinct honour across all the regions of Cips to really recognise Prof here, and it was one of the main reasons for us to take the effort to come, as we say, mob-handed here to Port Harcourt today. So congratulations, Prof. A few words?
Where do I start from? First of all, in academics, we are very conservative with the word prof. I'm not a prof. My students don't nickname me prof. And when I'm in a place like this, I can answer it. When I'm in the university environment, I will not answer. I think we now understand what I'm saying, and some other academics here. I want to really thank you. I want to thank the country manager. I want to thank the branch chair. I want to thank CIPS. It is one thing to perform, it's another thing to see the performance. I have passion for Cips, not just today. When I was doing diploma course in UK, that is when I began to develop passion for Cips. And why do I love Cips? Because of their ethical stand. Cips is ethics, ethics is Cips. I call Cips the mother and father, the grandfather and the grandmother, the foster fathers of ethics. If you love ethics, you hold Cips tight. And when I was working, some people called me ethics because I would condemn unethical practices. To drive ethics, Shell had what we call avoidable loss committee. In the value chain, you must avoid avoidable loss. And that is all about supply chain management. This honor done me today when I received a letter in my inbox. It was like a dream. I'm happy the dream is being realized today because the letter, when it came, nobody here knew of it. It was just I alone. Today, the whole world is aware of this. I'm happy to be a life member of CIPS. As the membership manager called me life ambassador, I will remain life ambassador. That I have been promoting CIPS membership growth in Nigeria and across the boundary of Nigeria. I've had students in Ghana who I taught from here and they wrote CIPS and passed, and others. I've been teaching CIPS in 2003 till tomorrow. And I thank God that I'm still standing on my feet to continue teaching it. When they say well done, they are telling you to do more. And I want to say, this is a well done. And I want to assure you and CIPS that though my age is going, but the physique is still there, and I'm just starting. I pledge to do more for Cips. God bless you all. God bless all of you. God bless Cips. God bless the leadership of Cips. Thank you.
Congratulations, Prof. And what a unique opportunity we have today. And as he said, going by the discussions we've had of recent, it was very clear that he is more energized, more committed to do more for the profession. And Prof is really very strategic for this zone, looking at the kind of work he is doing. And I'm happy we have a lot of students here today. In terms of mentoring, who you can look up to, Prof is here. Very easily accessible. And once again, thank you so much for all you do.
And lastly, I want to say thank you, sir. This morning when you were saying, I said I met you, I think 2019. But you said you didn't really put the name. And so I'm a witness to know that you are very passionate and you are very committed to Cips. And I'm so happy that this comes to be. So once more I'm saying congratulations. And most importantly, seeing these students really gladdens my heart. Because if at Cips we could, not the pain of him getting all of them here, if we can get them at the undergraduate level, then our presence will be so much felt in the country and we will have good governance. Thank you so much, sir.
I just want to mention that it's my colleague from RSU that brought these students. I'm a member of the Supply Chain Advisory Council in Futo, not in Rivers State University here. Futo is at Owerri. And we work together. They are my friends. These students are also my friends. We are going to work together. Please permit me to invite you, those of you who will be able to come to Lagos or those who will be in Lagos tomorrow, the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport will be inaugurating me as a council member tomorrow. So any of you who are able to come and witness it, should come. I will post the event center where it's going to hold in VI tomorrow by 11 a.m. Thank you and God bless.
Coming up next, we'll have a panel session. Following that panel session, we will create an opportunity for you to ask all questions of interest. Okay? The next session is really a panel session on cross-industry supply chain collaboration in a changing tax environment, and that session will be moderated by my colleague and one of us, who goes by the name of Uju Ugwambo. Please give her a round of applause as she comes up stage.
Colleagues, procurement and supply chain professionals in our midst, you're highly welcome to the panel session. We'll be going into in-depth discussion on our theme. As we can see, cross-industry supply chain collaboration in a changing tax environment. I'm sure we're aware that this new tax regime comes into effect from 1st January 2026, and this is like a month plus away. So I'm asking each and every one of us seated, how ready are we for this policy change implementation? Nigerian businesses across various sectors, both in manufacturing, the academia, public sector, the private sector, oil and gas, just name it. Everybody is under increased pressure with this evolving tax regulations, right? People are overwhelmed, people are confused, no one knows where to start. But I'm happy to inform us that we have the experts in the field that will help us unpack these developments. Yes, go ahead, thank you. So we've been hearing all morning collaboration, no silo working. We've said this over and over and over again. But reality is setting and we need to now get into action, right? Enough of the talking. We know the implications of this. So there'll definitely be tougher compliance demands. There will be stronger enforcement. And then these fiscal changes that will affect every link along the supply chain, right? So don't say that, oh, you're not part of this, that you're exempted. It's all of us, so all hands on deck. Whether from manufacturing, from production, distribution, logistics, reporting. We all need to come together, collaborate, share ideas, align our best practices. And it's very crucial that we do this. So this is so exciting. Like when I saw the theme, I was like, oh wow, this is so strategic, right? Coming at a time like this, it couldn't have come at a more relevant time. Am I right? Yes. Seems we're tired already. Okay, I'll go ahead. So I implore each and every one of us to sit, relax. If you have questions, just note it down, right? So at the end of the panel session, we'll leave the floor open for questions. Madam Choma had talked about these various key policy changes, and when she was just talking, I was like, Uju, why are you so hard on yourself? If the veterans in the field are feeling this way, just relax, and everything will be sorted out. So the good news is that, like I said earlier, we have the experts in the field, and I would like to introduce them. So let's meet our panelists. So our first panelist is a seasoned supply chain professional and Cips UK member with over 3 decades of multi-sector experience, spanning fast-moving consumer goods, oil and gas, manufacturing and agriculture. I'm sure she knows herself already. She's a chemistry graduate. She applies strong analytical and strategic skills to procurement and supply chain operations. She currently serves as a procurement manager at Rubber Estates Nigeria Limited, leading strategies that drive sustainability, cost efficiency, and supply chain resilience. An alumni of Lagos Business School Advanced Management Program, she is known for her strategic vision, hands-on leadership, and strong negotiation capability. Please, audience, join me in welcoming Catherine Toyin Temitope to the stage. We can do better than this, please. You're welcome, ma'am. Please let me sit. Welcome. Okay, so our second panelist is an accomplished tax professional with over 30 years of progressive experience at the Federal Inland Revenue Service, where he currently serves as a senior manager for tax. He holds a BSc in accounting as well as MBA in accounting and MSc taxation. He has a PhD in accounting as well from Rivers State University. I think we should be clapping while yes, it's not easy, eh? His extensive academic background and long-standing service record position him as a highly skilled expert in taxation and public revenue administration. This person is no other than Dr. Bartimius Oporolo. Sir, please let's have you on stage. Can we keep clapping? Thank you. welcome, sir. Okay, over to our third panelist. Our third panelist is the Managing Director of Toloma Consult Nigeria Limited. I hope I pronounced it right. Company Secretary of A Engage Nigeria Limited and a Senior Lecturer at Rivers State University. With over 30 years experience across supply chain management, law, strategy, and entrepreneurship. She has led major logistics and, yes, go on, thank you. She has led major logistics and procurement initiatives, including nearly 2 decades of value-driven oversight at Nigeria LNG. Her career spans roles at ABB and a top law firm as an intellectual property expert, supported by law and business degrees from Rivers State University. Rivers State University, yeah. The University of Lagos and Walden University. A multi-award winner and member of several professional bodies. She is also a passionate advocate for entrepreneurship, girl child education, and youth mentorship. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Maina Johnson-Hart. You're very much welcome. Okay, the last but not the least, our fourth panelist is an associate professor and acting head of logistics and supply chain management at Rivers State University. Come on, guys, what's happening? Is it going to be Rivers State? Okay, let me reserve my comments for now. With academic training spanning marketing, BSc, MSc, PhD, supply chain option, education, and professional supply chain management. A specialist in digital supply chain management and intelligent logistics. He has authored and co-authored 13 books, oh wow, and published numerous scholarly articles. He is a fellow and member of several professional bodies. It's a whole lot, eh? Dr. Ikeguru also serves as a consulting director of Best Value Press Educational Services and holds leadership roles in multiple organizations. He is a devoted family man and practicing Catholic. Please, can we have Dr. Mackinsley Ikeguru on stage? It's a pleasure to have you here, sir. Welcome. Okay, so going to the questions proper. So our distinguished panelists, it's so nice to have you here. Like Madam said, I know you're going to help us demystify and unpack these developments. You know, so want to get your perspectives with regards to these changes and how organizations and businesses are generally responding to them, right? And what you feel the best practices should be, you know, to ensure a more resilient and efficient supply chain. So thank you once more for coming. Okay, so I'll go straight to the questions. So I will start with our FIRS boss. Because it seems the tax issues are really the main thing overwhelming everybody. So sir, your first question is, what key elements of the new tax regime should businesses prioritize? And how might these changes affect cross-industry supply chain collaboration, particularly in procurement, pricing, and contract structuring? Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. And I'll answer this in no particular order. I'm sorry, I've been sick for a while now. It affected my voice, so you may not hear me so clearly. Please pardon me for that. Now, the tax law we are talking is still evolving, just as those who presented it said. It will take effect from January 1st. And it affected a whole lot of things, which we will not be able to discuss all here. We will take them one by one and as few as we can. Now, the first thing I would want anybody to know is that one of the taxes that affects businesses all over the world is the VAT. There is virtually nothing that you do that the VAT is not involved, except those services or products that are expressly exempted. And that is at 7.55%. So for you, as a supply person, a purchasing person, before you even begin to put in your papers, you want to supply something, you have to look at that. And you must factor in the tax element. If you don't do that, your company will be at the losing end, because you will be the one to pay it. And if somebody is supplying anything to you, it is your duty to ask, this thing you are supplying, at how much? What is the tax implication? And when you are paying that person, you refuse to take the tax that you are supposed to take from that person, from the payment you are making, your company will have to pay. So, you have to know that. Now, going forward, there is something that is called capital gain tax. Capital gain tax is tax that arises when a capital asset is disposed of. What is a capital asset? An asset that is used to generate income. For instance, you are disposing a vehicle. It is an asset to the company that is used for operations. Now the gains you make from it is subjected to tax. Before now, it used to be 10%. But NTA, Nigeria Tax Act, said no. We are collapsing everything into corporation tax, which means whatever gains that arises from that will be taxed at 30%, which is the tax rate. Now, there is another issue here that this new tax came up with. What is that? Effective tax rate. Effective tax rate. That is put at 15% for any company that has a turnover of 50 billion naira and above. Now, any multinational or part of it that has any of 750 million euros will have to pay this tax at 15%. And that is called effective tax rate. Now, we used to have a lot of other smaller taxes, like listening, you have a police trust fund, and all that. There were 4 or 5 of them. And the law said, no, this is multiplicity of taxes. Let us collapse them into one and call it development levy. So that is put at 4%. Now when you pay that, the government will now begin to distribute to the ministries, agencies that are supposed to share from it. It's a new development. Now, issue of digital compliance is very, very key here. For those of you whom have been working for large taxes, what we call large taxes, a company whose turnover is more than 5 billion naira by our own classification. Now we invited them to teach them to get involved in our e-invoicing platform. That is to say, for any invoice you are raising, it's no longer going to be manual. It has to be digital, so that it can be tracked at recorded time. As soon as you throw in your invoice, it will hit our portal. We know what you have done, we know how much is involved, we know what tax is involved. So you do not even need to worry your head. We may not even come to your office to say, guy, I want to do audit, because we have seen what that you've done. If you have any doubt, that's when we come to find out which one did you not do it that way. So digital taxation is going to take place everywhere. So everybody should press up for that. Now, we have the free trade zone. The free trade zone was created for specific purposes. One, to transfer knowledge to indigenous people of Nigeria. Two, to transfer technology. And that is why government decided to give them tax holidays. Give them tax holidays, don't pay tax, provided that whatever service you are rendering, whatever product that you are selling, you sell them outside and bring in foreign earnings. But any part of it that you sell, what we call the custom area within Nigeria, will be taxed. Now, we discovered that these companies have been playing hanky-panky with that. So, now there is going to be stricter measurement on them. So for those of you that are working with companies in free trade zone, the days of play are over for you. Now, what impact does all this have on cross-industry supply chain? Now, for procurement, for instance, businesses must adapt to new tax compliance measures. I just mentioned that you must go digital and give us your detailed information on your e-invoicing. The moment you do that, you are free of any further encumbrance. Now, the issue of pricing, company may really need to reassess their pricing strategies. You have your strategies, you have to reassess them so that you will take advantage of whatever loophole that you might find in the tax law. Now, what about contract restructuring? When you are doing your contract, it's expected that you should bring in the clauses of tax. You don't just go and do contracts without looking at the tax implication you want to do. Bring in the clauses of tax. You are going to pay this A tax to this person, you are going to pay that B tax to that person. So that holistically, you package your contracts and you will not be found wanting in any way. Thank you so much. Let me leave it at that for now.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. That was very informative, educative, and insightful. Thank you so much. Thank you. And so, to Dr. Ikeguru, your question, sir. Coming from the research standpoint, how do you think a changing tax environment will shape cross-industry supply chain collaboration, and what key trends should practitioners watch?
Okay, thank you. This is an excellent, highly relevant question in this perspective. Tax is not my area, but then every intelligent traveler knows where he's going. In supply chain, we'll have disruption and resilience. We maybe look at tax as disruption, but it isn't like that. Following it from the research perspective, and let me look at the this theory, the transaction cost economy, an idea where organizations are interested in the cost of production. I think what will come in here will be what we call collaboration across industries. For instance, an automobile firm and a battery firm collaborating together in order to meet up in this situation. Collaboration, I believe, is the key in this perspective. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much. Dr. Myla, it's good you have the mic already. Okay, so ma'am, with your unique blend of academic knowledge and hands-on industry experience, how do you see the evolving tax environment reshaping the way organizations collaborate across the supply chains, especially in highly regulated sectors like oil and gas?
Thank you very much for that question. I worked in oil and gas, and I worked in supply chain for 20 years, so I can understand what it is like. I think I've been through a few changes of tax, and it was difficult. So, but with the new tax law, tax has become a strategic enabler now. It will determine your project structures, your commercial models, even your technology choices, especially since the FRS is saying that you now have to submit invoicing through them. And they are starting with the oil and gas industry. Yes. So, the oil and gas industry will need to understand what is going on. And right now, everybody is a bit confused. So, they will need to engage the tax authorities, the regulators, to have a clear understanding. It's very important. Collaboration is a given. Because in the supply chain, you collaborate with your partners. So, and your partners are not from the same industry. So, it is standard to do now. In those days where you had transactional services, you can decide not to talk to your supply chain partner. Now it is compulsory. Everybody needs to understand how it affects them and come up with a solution that is agreeable, convenient, cost-effective, and profitable to everybody. And this oil and gas industry is no exception. Thanks to Choma, she had talked about areas that we can collaborate. And then you have joint venture partners in oil and gas. So it is important that everybody gets to understand how it will affect them and collaborate to ensure that we all go through it in the easiest and most convenient manner and profitable to everybody. So definitely collaboration is good.
Yeah, right. Thank you so much. We've been, you see, everything centers around collaboration. So we really need to get to work, no more silo working if we're going to optimize our supply chains. Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. And then, Madam Catherine, this is your question. So, ma'am, with your broad experience as well, you've done oil and gas, FMCG, manufacturing, especially the rubber, right? So what tax-driven supply chain disruptions have you found most significant, particularly in terms of rising costs, operational efficiency, and compliance pressures?
Thank you very much. You know, like when the organizers, when they called, they were like, okay, most of the people that will come are oil and gas. I'm not in Port Harcourt, though I was staying in Port Harcourt before, so had to come all the way from Araromi. So a lot of people might not know, maybe apart from maybe very few people, when Ambassador Willie was talking about Michelin. So my company, you know, when Michelin was in Nigeria, they had the rubber plantation, the tire and the sales. So it was the factory here that they actually sold off. The plantation was bought over by a company called Cips. They are in Côte d'Ivoire, and they still have their tire service in Lagos, where they sell the finished tires. So we actually, in terms of, you know, we are more like agri and manufacturing. So we faced a lot of challenges. And as I was sitting down there, I was happy that, you know, the industry standards, they are talking about collaboration, because most time when you look at CIPS UK itself, it centers more around the oil and gas. I did CIPS UK while I, you know, so a lot of other sectors, maybe the rich sectors now, when you talk about the agri sector, the manufacturing, they really don't have much of this data or information. So we've been hit by all sorts of things, from maybe import duty, the Biodogu. About half of our items, HS code, are not on SONCA. And so you begin to see, so every time my head is walking around how we are going to And it was actually my MD that wrote to their MD. There was nothing.
Based on global case studies and emerging research to stay resilient and competitive as tax policies evolve.
Okay, I will think of something like agile supply chain. Currently, the fight between this business landscape is not between company A and company B, but between company A supply chain and company B supply chain. So everyone should be proactive and now make a move to work and maybe present something like supply chain task force, where all members of the supply chain will see tax as not a compliance burden, but as a way of strengthening their inter-relationship. By this way, they will do something like trying to look at this, like somebody said, a person who is too individualistic runs the risk of operating at a reduced state of consciousness. I believe what they need to do is to collaborate across border, and so that the supply chain will be strengthened. That would be the cure for this fear, because right now there is fear of the unknown. And also we advise those who are entering, especially the students who are saying this, to read, just as my friend said, because reading maketh a man to write, because writing makes an exact man, and to engage in conferences like this, because conferences makes us a ready person. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So we heard that it's very good to institute supply chain task force. Thank you so much for that, sir. And Dr. Maina, ma'am, your last question. I'm torn between asking you about the legal and strategic factors, but like I always feel charity begins at home. So for me, I think the first place we should start is internally, right? So I'd rather we do that. So what capabilities or internal systems should businesses begin building now to stay resilient, aligned and compliant as tax policies continue to change? Thank you, ma'am.
And that topic is my students are here. I talk about all the time. Technology. You cannot get ahead without technology. Digital technology, especially those powered by AI, is important. So the first thing it helps you do is to create a database. We must have a database. That's your foundation. Without data, you cannot do anything. So for core systems, you must have a robust data foundation. So for core, and then you must have digital tax reporting architecture. You must create reporting architecture. It's not when the tax authorities come, they start running around like a headless chicken. It must be something that you do all the time. And then your compliance, contracts and compliance should be automated. We now have smart contracts where you don't, as a person, have to interfere. It gives alerts when it's due. It tells you whose action is outstanding. It tells you when to close it out, how to close it out, whether it has been done or not. And then you also have to do scenario planning, modeling, planning to understand the outcome, consequences. I mean, he has talked about all the consequences that would occur if you fail to pay your tax. So nobody wants to go through that. And then we need to have integrated reporting, especially for companies that undertake ESG, economic, social, and governance. Yes, you must have that on the tip of your finger, and you can only do that with AI. And then when we're talking of core capabilities, we talked about it. Cross-functional teams are a must. If you are in supply chain, you're not expected to know everything. And even if you think you know, sometimes there are things that you miss if you do not ask other functions, legal, finance, tax experts. So let me give an example. You've now talked of the fact that SMEs that don't earn 100 million are tax exempt. But there's a proviso. Their fixed assets should not be more than 250. Am I right? So if you only know the first part, you don't know the second part, then you will not be tax compliant. So it is important not to sit down and say, I know everything, but to have those people help you and help you also develop clauses that will guide you against risk. We are going to have clauses to ensure that we have an understanding on how the tax liabilities fall. We are going to have clauses that would enable us manage fallout when we have issues on who is to pay, who is not to pay, clear mechanism for resolving disputes. It is important to have all of those. And then you must have a tax-aware commercial team. You cannot be in supply chain and not be aware of the issues with tax. Whether you have a contract offshore, onshore, what are the tax implications? SMEs, what are the tax implications, especially when you're bidding. So your commercial models would be created based on the tax models at that time. Yeah, and then you need to have collaborative tax management. We talked about it, especially when you have joint venture partners, you have subsidiaries and all this. It is important that everybody comes together, put the information together, and be able to come up with a unified tax framework.
Awesome. Thank you so much, ma'am. While you were speaking, I was just thinking about the AI. I totally agree with you. The way the world is going with the dynamism, and we keep saying we need to stay innovative. We need to have a highly responsive and agile supply chain. I feel AI is the way to go. It's the now, not even just the future. So I totally agree with you and feel we need to incorporate AI immediately into our internal systems. Thank you so much for that, ma'am. And Ma'am Catherine, sorry, I want to hear more from you, so I'm going to join 2 questions. Okay, so the first one will be, what practical strategies, right, have you successfully implemented to stay compliant, if any, with these evolving tax regulations, while still protecting productivity and supply chain performance, right? So that would be the first part. Then how do you feel collaboration between the various sectors, whether manufacturing, oil and gas, and agriculture, like you had said, will help to reduce the tax risks? So the first one is the practical strategies that maybe you may have implemented to stay compliant. Or are you still working on something? And then how do you think collaboration between the various sectors will help reduce the risks? Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I'll start answering your question by giving a practical example. Like I told you, in 2021, that was when I now went to agri sector. So I remember that the person that was doing the job before wasn't a Nigerian. So I was now coming in as a Nigerian. So usually at the end of the year, about this time, the company gives some rice to the staff as part of their Christmas end of the year. So, collaboration, that number one, a lot of people were paranoid. This person, a lady, coming, procurement, she's not in our good, that kind of resilience. So the finance team did not tell me that rice is not vatable, we're subject to withholding tax. So our ERP system, the PO, is set up that it automatically pays the VAT. So we did the PO, we did everything, and usually this item is supplied by the community vendors. We operate in 4 states, so we use it to also manage the community vendors. And community vendors, as we are remotely away, you can just imagine the kind of community vendors I'm talking about. So we did the PO, and that was my first year, and it was time to pay them. So they paid them, and there was a lot of bulala. I mean, a lot of. So they came to me, when the whole thing was not very hot, and said, procurement manager, rice is not, and the community vendors were ready to raise hell. You know, that thing drag, but thank God for my MD, though he's not a Nigerian, but he's somebody that he believes so much in, you know, in CIPS and everything we stand for. So he stood by me, and we had to redo the, you know, they didn't pay them the VAT, but they took the withholding tax. So we had to now pay them in January. We calculated the withholding tax and we paid. So the following year, I was very wise. So what did I do? I did a contract. MOU, I called it, and I put all the terms. You know, this thing is subject, is you know, everything, I clearly stated it out. And I said they must first of all acknowledge it before we will issue PO. Because any little thing that happens, the community will revolt. And you know, the company, also part of our KPI is to make sure the community does not revolt. So you know, so these are some of the things. Pharmaceutical too, we have hospitals, pharmaceutical items, drugs, they are also not vatable, but they are subject to withholding tax. So most times you must have done PO, somebody will come and say, this thing, you know, you've done the PO and everything is so. Now what we do is, and also we started vendor forum. So our vendor forum now is going to be this, we're having one, because of this program, I had to move the vendor forum to next week. Because I told them this CIPS program is very important, so I moved it. So during such program, we call all the team that understand, you know, to explain to the vendors, because we have different calibers of vendors, that, you know, what withholding tax means. You know, we have to explain to them tax pro. I think before we issue hard copy, yes. Now you keep telling them, you know, when we call, go and check your tax pro. Oh, I checked it. It's not there. You have to now start explaining, you know, how the remittance goes, the period of the month when they should be expecting it. So all those things are things that we now do. And during our vendor forum this year, we are going to be talking about all the stats and the role of technology. And something I've also picked from today's conference, meeting, is that we also need to start discussing with them about them also going digital invoicing. So we're also going to be telling them to start collaboration, that within themselves, those ones that are high up, they should, you know, take it upon themselves to, but we are going to be taking it upon ourselves to the main local community vendors. We do ESG reporting, so some of those things we're already complying. Like when I saw the new thing, I know that we are currently complying. Then the other thing that we've not really talked about in this conference is how it affects the employees, what they are earning. You know, I think it's going to be affected somehow. If your gross annual is less than 800,000 or thereabout, and I know that we are about 2,600 staff, and about 80% of those staff are junior workers. And anything that will make their take home to be lesser than, you know, if they now need to pay more tax, is going to affect us, because they manually tap the rubber tree. So with all the current things in the economy, we are also coming up, even with the current payee, till today, we are still explaining to them how it works. It's not as if maybe somebody is taking them, you know. So these are some of the challenges, but we are working on it, and that is why the company comes up with a lot of palliatives for the staff, just to cushion all the effects of all this thing. It's a very big challenge. We'll keep educating both our internal customers and the external customers, just to make sure that the supply chain is very resilient and it doesn't even collapse. Because if any of my vendors is affected, maybe by government regulation, because now there's better tracking, and it's going to affect me. So that is why I need to educate them right now for them to comply. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Can we clap better? Something more befitting? Thank you so much. I guess this was very insightful, am I right? Okay, so the floor is now open for questions and answers. We don't have much time, so I hope I'm not being miserly. Can we have like 2 questions? If you have any question, just raise your hand and then the mic will be brought to you. Okay, we'll just take one. Any other person? Okay, there's someone. Okay, please just make it brief, if possible, if you're directing it at someone. Just be specific. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much. My name is Dr. Henry Berichi. I am an MCIPS and I'm a CITI member and I'm an ICANN holder too. I just wanted to just make a little contribution on what the last speaker said concerning the issue of employees' salaries. Just a contribution to her. She made a valid point about 800,000 naira. Now there are rates that have been added to this contribution amount. When 800,000 is zero per year, now the next 2.2 million is 15%. And then the percentages goes on and on in that perspective. It means that this particular new tax reforms is going to favor a lot of low-income earners. So many taxes have been reduced, particularly in agriculture and household products, so that we can have enough disposable income. So the people that are fighting against the tax reforms shouldn't fight against it because it's tilting towards the low-income earners, so we can have enough disposable income for us to spend so much money. If you watch currently, agricultural products, prices have reduced drastically. The rice that we bought at 110,000 naira last year is 69,000 naira as of today. The the flours now used in baking breads has reduced ×2, which is what we too should also try to fight, that the price of the bread should also reduce, because the cost of the bread, the cost of the flour that they use in fighting or to increase the cost of bread has reduced. So they should also reduce the cost of the bread today. If we all go on strike that for 1 week we won't buy bread, I'm sure they will reduce it. That is the obvious fact. So agricultural products are tax-free, and it's going to help a lot of agricultural firms like yours to produce and grow their businesses, and it will help to grow what the GDP of Nigeria. At the end of the period, we will all enjoy it. There are so many taxes today that were not invented today. It was invented, some of them were in 2007, but it's been want to be carried out now because of what they have removed what they call the subsidy, but they have also suspended on it simply because they want the naira to improve by 5%. Capital gain tax has also been dropped because they want to help our capital gains and then increase our investments. So all those that are put their funds from the stocks should bring back their money to the stocks, because right now this is even a good time for us to invest in stocks now, because stock prices have dropped drastically because they were afraid that capital gain tax is going to affect their stock prices. So go back and buy now and gain the price thereafter. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Ma'am, there's a lady that raised her hand just there. Yes, that's the last person, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Iberi Abolade, MC. When it comes to the changing tax environment, so many areas has actually been explored. So, but I'm looking at issues around collaborations. If our panelists can actually add a little more light on that. Issues around collaborating, like we have mentioned, shared logistics, shared warehousing, and the rest of them. There are a lot of bottlenecks, around this. And by the time you start the implementation, you will meet some of these things. So how do you go about it? Like talking about transparency, they are talking about insecurity. Like I was talking about someone trying to load, I think one of us, somebody that delivered the talk, somebody wanted to load half truck items, and now you can use Coca-Cola, and I was like, where is the trust in doing this? And so there are a lot of insecurity around it, and there is also collaborating with multinationals and the SMEs. There's this incompatibility in technologies. So there are a lot of them. I just want our panelists to look at issues around collaboration and throw more light on how to go about this in the course of trying to implement what we have come to do today, which is how to collaborate with other industries in a changing tax environment. Thank you so much.
I will use my own experience. I handled logistics when I worked with NNG, and that was a big issue. But I found out something, trust. That was the biggest issue, like the presenter talked about here. It will not be a walk in the park, but it can be done. And I did it, so I can say, yes, it can be done. So you need to sit down and have a discussion. Let us, you talk about your fears, your concerns, and how to address them. And when you have integrity, it will work. Integrity is another issue. That's what builds trust. If you have integrity and keep to your word, especially when you're from the multinational, when you feel you have power and influence, and you're going to use it to suppress them, that's the general feeling. You need to let them know that we're in this together. If you fail, I fail. If they understand that and that you're here to support them, a lot of small companies think the multinationals are here to fleece them, to get as much from them and give them nothing. So you as a multinational, when you are bidding, please, this lowest bidder syndrome, you need to throw it out of the window. Most cost effective. And that's where understanding comes in. So you need to talk to your finance people, you need to talk to legal, and understand the cost, the operations, overheads, and all of it, and ensure that the person who is contracting with you has quoted a reasonable amount of money. Again, sometimes they underquote, hoping to win, and then start trying to manage issues. So you as the multinational, with a clear understanding of the commercial costs, overheads, outputs, consequences, tax liability, will be able to tell a bid that is reasonable, that the smaller company will make a reasonable profit. That's where he's able to do your work adequately to your satisfaction without cutting costs. And when he sees that you support him where he has issues, he starts to build trust. Collaboration becomes easy. Now my contractor comes to me to say he has a problem, even where that problem is his fault. I support him to resolve it because I understand I have better contacts. I use my contact to help resolve the problem because ultimately at the end of the day, I benefit from it because I get better services and on time. So building trust is two ways. You show them that you're there to support them, they will trust you, and collaboration will be maximized. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. Please, sequel to that, I want to say that we have gone past the era of supply chain slavery. Now, there is no boss in the supply chain, but they should see themselves as dependable ally. At least, what holds them together is trust, based on the contract agreement they sign. If all parties keep it, I think the collaboration will be very, very effective and efficient. Thank you.
Wow. This was an amazing session. We've come to the end of our panel session. I think our panelists deserve another round of applause. Can it be louder than this? A little bit more? More? Thank you so much. Distinguished panelists, we are super, super grateful. Thanks for coming around. And to the audience, I learned so much. I hope you did. So I implore each and every one of you, when you get back to your organizations, we need to do deep dive analysis, right? So let's look at the challenges and sit together, work with our cross-functional teams and see how to collaborate better. No more silo working. This is now the big deal, right? So we all need to, all hands on deck, you know, to really optimize our supply chains. And I mean, the effects, the implications and what we're going to get out of it is I mean, numerous, we can't even mention. So you're going to have cost savings, you're going to have improved transparency and efficiency, and then you also have an effective supply chain. So I implore each and every one of us not to just go and continue our normal day activities. We need to really just get into the work. Thank you so much for coming once more, and enjoy the rest of the event. Thank you. Just take back for a photo. Okay.
Thank you so much. I'd like to invite Sam and Branch Chair to please come up to hand over our token of appreciation to them. Thank you so much for your contributions to this. Sam, please. Incidentally, there are so many doctors in this panel. All right, so this will be for Dr. Ike Guru. A round of applause for him, please. Next will be for Dr. Batts. A round of applause for him, please. Next up would be for Dr. Mina. And then Dr. Toyin Mebi. Dr. Toyin Mebi.
Like Harrison has said, we would not be keeping you for so long. The person I would be moderating has done justice to what I would have been asking him to do. And before I introduce the person I'm going to be speaking with, I would want to play a video from the CEO of Cips.
Hi everybody, it's Ben Farrell here. I'm the Chief Executive of Cips, for those I haven't had the opportunity to meet so far. I just wanted to send a message ahead of the branch meeting today in Port Harcourt, because Nigeria has a special place in my heart. I had an amazing first visit in June, and I just wanted to talk about some of the things that came to mind when I heard you were meeting. The first thing, as I wanted to say, is I continue to wear my presents you gave me. So thank you all very much for my hat, and I can't remember what this is called, but I'm the chieftain of Cips, so I have some important messages for you all today. And I've got also a number of things from the Governor of Lagos and also the EO from Lagos. But today I wanted to make a couple of important announcements. The first of which is, as I promised when I was in Nigeria in June, today we're announcing a price reduction in membership for Cips in Nigeria, and also the ability to pay with Naira on the website. This is all an undertaking from us for a long-term and serious commitment to growth in Nigeria. When I spent time in Nigeria with Sam and also Chuck Woody and Daniel and Omatande and all the team together, we recognise there's a really important time for us to contribute to the growth and prosperity of Nigeria. You often heard about creating the Dubai of Africa, and Cips is here to fully commit to our growth in Nigeria. So I ask you today to get completely behind what we're doing, promote Cips and promote membership of Cips across Nigeria, because I often say that by 2050, 1 in 10 people on the planet are going to be Nigerian, and we need to have helped the nation flourish and prosper to be ready for that. So it's a really important thing we're doing. The second thing I want to say is thank you to Omatande for his leadership of the branch, I wish you a fabulous meeting. Please do stay in touch, and looking forward to spending more time with you all. And thirdly, that Chuck Woody, I'm delighted, has taken on the role as our country manager, and he will be able to provide more detail on our plans for Nigeria. But it's an exciting time, and I want to tell you wholeheartedly how personally I'm committed to growth in Nigeria, and personally we're all committed and excited about what's possible in Nigeria. So thanks so much, everybody. Hope to see you all soon. Have a good branch meeting.
All right, thank you so much. That's Ben Farrell, the CEO of CIPS Global, CIPS. And he was here in June with our very good friend, Sama Chambong. And Cips has come to stay in Nigeria. And for this particular session, I hope we heard, apart from talking about price reduction, for those of us that are already CIPS members and those that are coming in, apart from price reduction, there's something else he said. Did you hear? Thank you. He said payment in Naira. This is an effort that as a branch we have been pushing for so many years. So with effect from today, you will not only be paying your subscription at the reduced rate, which the person I'm going to be inviting will be telling us what the rates are, but you'll be paying in Naira. So if you paid yesterday in pounds, sorry, going forward, it will be in Naira. And without much ado, I invite my friend and my brother in this struggle, Chukwudi Uche F. Cips.
Thank you, God. Because of time, permit me to align to all the established protocols. But just to quickly thank our students, the leaders of tomorrow. So grateful for your presence here today. And to come home and thank the people that have given me the great support to be here today, even what you've heard in terms of achievements within this short period. And that is starting from then, our dear CEO and Sam that is here with us today. Before I come to the branch, just a little about the two people I've talked about. Nigeria has been so prioritized that sometimes if you look at what is happening, you might be jealous to say, why Nigeria? Yes. One of the ways to look at this is through the two people I've talked about. When we had a Global Board of Trustees meeting for 1st of October this year, the only country that got into the agenda happened to be Nigeria. And that gave me an opportunity to speak on Nigeria. As if that was not enough, we had another opportunity again close to that, which is to tell every one of us here that is a new dawn for Nigeria. And on that note also, I thank the branch that before setting up Cips entity in Nigeria has worked tirelessly to push for improvement that will affect every one of us here today. And please join me to clap for the representatives here, starting from Madam Chair, that is in front of us, Madam Obotunde Oyedeji. Daniel here is a veteran. Thank you so much, Daniel. Harrison, Uju, Amara, Nunu, you people are fantastic. And Thompson, where is he? Yes. The truth is, we tell them what you're seeing today is really challenging to happen. We are so proud of you. Thank you so much. And to every one of you, thank you, because without you, there is no Cips. That's the truth. And I'm going to quickly talk through. Are you going to ask me the questions, Dan, or you want me to go through?
Okay, so we want to actually save time. I had asked him the questions behind us. He's going to provide the answers. And once he's done, because I'm also timing him, once he's done, I'll come and conclude. Thank you.
All right. One of the questions he asked me, starting from the beginning, is about what kind of vision do we have for the country? And I will just speak to it. And I'm happy this aligns to the kind of discussion we are having here today. The first is, in setting up an entity in Nigeria, we are mindful of an entity that meets all the compliance requirements. We have been working so hard to make this happen, so that what we are known for, you remember when Prof talked about Cips today, that when you hear Cips, you hear about ethics. Yes, we live by what we preach, and that is why we are very interested in making sure that we meet all the compliance requirements. And what we need to do again, we want to get better positioned to enhance member value proposition in Nigeria, which is very, very critical and primary to what we do in Nigeria. And you will see a few of them, like talking about payments today. But more especially, supportive of partnerships. Yes, Cips is very desirous of doing more around partnerships and supporting more business opportunities for Cips in Nigeria, because Cips beyond membership is also a business, and we want to make sure that we support Cips business in Nigeria. And talking about partnership, it's important to recognize our delivery partner here in the room, Harley Reid. Harley Reid, where are you? Yes. Cips has been working with Harley Reid as a delivery partner in Nigeria before now. Next slide, please. Now, what are our key priorities? The first is the in-country registration, concluding everything about it, what we are finalizing is all about the requirements to run in Nigeria. The next is to ensure strong collaboration with the branch. What that means is, what you're seeing today, I believe will be a child's play going forward, because the collaboration can only get better in future. But more especially, as we collaborate with them, enhance member value proposition, which one of them is the aspect of payment we are going to talk about today. And you will agree with me that payment is not just the only thing that you are looking forward to having as members. Leverage on partnerships to support the professionalization of procurement in Nigeria. We have signed an MOU with the Bureau of Public Procurement, which we did on the 2nd of June, and that is overarching for the country. And through that, we are also moving to states. You heard about Lagos today, and we want to do more. And the essence of that is to support the professionalization of procurement in Nigeria, which has started happening. At the moment, we are working with BPP to train more than 200 people, targeting about 8,000 procurement professionals for the public sector in Nigeria. The next is supporting BPP, working with them to develop their first ever procurement strategy for the country. We talk about procurement being strategic, being a value creator. And one of the ways to do that is to start at that level to come up with this very important document, which we are looking at the possibility of using it to not just position Nigeria in terms of value creation here, but also being the first of its kind in Africa. The next is, we are talking about collaboration. In looking at that, we are strengthening our strategic alliance with the Chartered Institute of Purchasing and Supply Management of Nigeria. I remember last week we had a meeting with them as part of that openness to collaborate with them. The next is building more partnerships. Lagos, I've talked about it, and beyond Lagos, we are also going to look forward to doing more. Next is visibility, which we must enhance for Cips activities and services in Nigeria. It's not that what we are doing today is an opportunity to create visibility, for Cips in Nigeria. And we also have seen that there are some services we are known for that have brought transformation for different entities that so many people, including some of us in this room, are not aware of. And what we want to do, we want to take what has worked, especially in Nigeria, and create visibility about it so that you can benefit from what we are able to provide to you in the country. The last here is ensuring appropriate level of study and exam centers. So many people here are going through qualification programs, and I remember when Uju was moderating, I recalled when she was doing her qualification program, she would fly from Enugu to Port Harcourt and to Abuja to write exams. We don't want that to happen again. Yes. Whether it's study center, exam center, we want to make sure that we strategically have presence in different locations so that you don't need to spend extra money to have those services. And by the way, talking about priorities is not exhaustive. These are the things that we have started working on. I hope we are together. Everything here is not that we are going to do. For each of them, we have started working on them. If I talk about study center, I remember, and good enough, our prof here, yesterday we gave approval, the first approval for him to go into study and exam center here in Port Harcourt as a proactive way of showing you that we are here to enhance what you were doing before now. Right. Now, this is just to talk about what are the opportunities we have that we need to join hands and utilize for the country. The first is the brand, Cips, and linking this to what Prof said today in terms of the ethical standard we are known for. And what this means is we have a lot of entities that are open to collaborate with us. In fact, yesterday someone from our branch was telling us about an entity that reached out to say, we want to do something with you. It's because of the brand, and we want to leverage on that strongly for the benefit of the country. The next is the branch I talked about before now. We want to work more with the branch to achieve more together also. That's a very good opportunity because there are countries, as we heard earlier, that do not have any active branch. And thanks to the branch leadership again for all you do. The next here is the opportunity we have in terms of MOUs with PPP, with Lagos. We are going to utilize that. Before now, Cips has been implementing a health program in Nigeria, and we have used that to demonstrate the kind of value we can create through the work we do. We have used it to improve availability of health products, affordability. You go to some states, they tell you that beyond health products being available, that they have reduced prices to close to 50%. Yes, verifiable. And these are some of the things we want to leverage on to say, it's not that we can do, we tell you this is where we have done it before. The next is the achievements we've had before now through our delivery partner, Harley Reid, doing a lot of work with organizations in the country. This is also an opportunity we want to leverage on to do more in the country within a short time. Nigeria is blessed with very good universities, institutions, polytechnics, we have universities, and this becomes an opportunity for leverage because we are looking forward to accrediting universities in Nigeria in such a way, just like we have students out there. You finish from your undergraduate, do your postgraduate, and you are able to get MCIPs without going through a process of starting your qualification program from the beginning to the end. And currently we have one university in Nigeria that has gotten that, which is Kaduna State University. And as part of our strategy, within the next 5 years, we want to make sure that we have at least 3, and this is very achievable. In terms of manpower,
when you look at the kind of qualified people that can support you to do that, we have in Nigeria. And we are able to work with all our partners in Nigeria, talking about the branch, for instance, to make sure that we make this happen. The next is Nigeria is a place that there is demand. There are some professional bodies that they go around talking to people, but what we have seen is Nigeria is a place that people demand for their capacity to be built, and we want to take advantage of that. The last but not the least, which we are turning as an opportunity, is that from the leadership of Cips, we have this global ambition that we want to have 150,000 members by 2030. What does that mean for us? It means that, talking about member value proposition, what we need to do to get more members, you have leadership support, because there's an ambition. That is why that has become an opportunity. And you can imagine how we can link this to the aspect of payment that is happening at the moment. Now, I quickly go to what I suppose you're looking forward to see, which is the review of membership payments as relevant to Nigeria. Yes. Nigeria, because Nigeria is the only country that has gotten this consideration in West Africa. Yes. And we are looking at it taking effect from 1st of December this year. Not today, 1st of December, because this was done quickly. It requires technology to make sure that everything is enabled. You go to the platform, you're able to take advantage of it.
Just 4 days to do.
Oh yes. So here is what we have at the moment. You just look at this, but when I go to the last slide, you're able to see the comparison, what you were paying before and what it is now, and the huge differential on it. Going forward, not only that it has been reduced, this is also going to be fixed in Naira, meaning that you go to the website, you pay, and from fellow to affiliate. And now let me talk about affiliate. We have some of us here, you don't want to go through qualification program, you desire the work we do so much, you want to learn as much as you can. We are open to receive you as affiliate member. Yes, and that will also open you up to a lot of resources, conferences, and what have you. Now, in terms of joining, that's a reinstatement fee. This is what it is at the moment, also fixed. And this is compared to almost 100,000 before, if you do your conversion. Now, we go to lapsed new total. What this means is if you add the reduced rate and reinstatement fee, this is what it gives you in Naira, and also fixed. And the last here is for us to see what really shifted. Now, if we look at this, okay, this is the affiliate membership. If you go to the website now, you see $169. This, I used the official CBN exchange rates of yesterday, meaning that this is what you are supposed to be paying if you are to go by what it has been. But with the change, it has come to 126,000 Naira, meaning that we have 48% reduction fixed in Naira. And one thing I need to bring up is this. I was speaking to a professional body, and they said by December they are going to take their fees up. And this is us bringing ours down because of the kind of value we want to create and how important you are.
Dependent on the foreign exchange rate at the time.
phase to be dependent on the exchange rate at the time of...
No, this is fixed.
Fixed.
It's fixed.
But you use the exchange rate as today.
No, what I did was before this change, just to show you, because beyond what I have presented before, you could say what has changed, is to show you that without this change, if you are to pay, this is what you should be paying in Naira because of this. But now, if you are to pay from 1st of December, this is what you will be paying.
Irrespective of the exchange rate at that time.
Yes, that's why we said it's fixed. You just go there in Naira, you pick the amount and you pay.
I think it meant if Naira appreciates, for example, to compete with pound.
Yes, it's fixed. That's the point. Are we together? There is no calculation with regards to the exchange rate when you're paying. This amount will be fixed, that whenever you want to pay, you are paying this amount as an affiliate member. I hope it's clear. Very good. Now, for students that ordinarily would have paid 206,823 kobo, now you will have a fixed amount of 103,600, which is half, slashing the amount by half, and also keeping you away from exchange rate fluctuation. The next is for MCIPS, which comes to DSM 126,000 and fellows 159,600. And as I said, this is not just a 10% reduction or 20% reduction. It's quite significant. And what will be my call to action as I'm making this presentation? It will be, watch out for first. If you have not renewed, please come in and renew. Yes, from 1st December. And the next I want to talk about is this, because some people have asked this question. What next? You remember that the office effectively started running from 1st of September, and these things have been done within that period. We have a roadmap, which is going into 2026, we will now look at other packages in terms of payment from Nigeria, because you will agree with me that these things cannot be done overnight because of even the technology requirements. And what that means is, whether you're writing exams, in terms of your books and what have you, we have an ongoing discussion around that so that we can look at in 2026 how to also make it easy in terms of payment. All right?
Thank you so much, sir. Let me reiterate something that he said. You would agree with me that we're looking at tax. And Mr. President has signed the new tax policy into law that will start with effect from 1st of January. So with effect from today, we have shown you which will come into effect from 1st of December, as he has said. If exchange rate drops to 10 naira today, it does not affect that thing you are saying. If it rises to 10,000 naira, it still does not affect what you have seen. So what he is saying is that your rate is now in naira. If by next year they will add 5%, it is based on addition in naira, not because of exchange rates. I hope I'm correct, sir. So let's clap for him, please. And please, let's increase the clap for the branch, because this did not happen overnight. Prof, you know this thing didn't happen overnight. Henry. So it's been a battle for years. And thank you, sir, for the comfort that you've given to us by letting us know. And thank God Sam is here. So, Sam, he has made promises. So, thank you for pushing, and this has come to be. And I'm also happy with the other parts that he has added, that not only in terms of the annual rates fees that we have here, even books will be produced in Nigeria for our students, certificates and everything will be printed from here and sent to you, and all that will be done in Nigeria. So the office here would work and run fully, and not like before that we have to be writing. That's the truth. Do we need to be writing to the UK to have answers? Then we come to you, or we write through you, then you get.
Let me, before coming to that, the one you said before, now talking about books, you know, we always commit to what we are going to do. Yes. And what you have seen here is an evidence to that. In terms of books, you will agree with me that technology has become very, very critical. And Cips has made a lot of investments in that area. In fact, in one of the meetings I attended a few days ago, I was also hearing about a collaboration with an entity so that when you are procuring books, it will be easy for you to manage it, easy for you to read it. Meaning that is not a priority to print books here. But we are looking at a situation whereby you can easily pay for your books, just like this membership, and possibly in Naira. Yes, that's the focus.
So, we are hoping that if we have to also print, you would also work on that, to print locally.
It's a request. It's a request.
Thank you.
Yes, noted. Now, talking about in terms of channels of communication, we had what Sam said earlier, presence in 181 countries, offices, Nigeria being one of them.
Who can just entertain at most 3 because of our time. So I have 1, 2, and I'll give grace to another 1 person. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. I came here with a prayer. I want to say that my department was created on the 30th of May, 2024. And I was asking for collaboration, partnership, the possibility of this organization having a center in our institution. And I will stop by saying, logistics.
Good to go.
Thank you.
A lot of us are also in the academia, and I'm wondering if we can get a certificate of attendance for this conference. I don't know if it's possible.
Cips is trying to go paperless, and so as many persons that registered, especially online, Cips will send a notification to you and all that. But I think we'll have that conversations with them behind the scene, so they could send and you could print or something. Please, we'll have that conversation with them. Thank you. Any other question?
For those of us who are new to the career path and wish to be registered with Cips, I don't know. I don't think it was really outlined what we need to do to be a part of it. I know there's the process of maybe studying and writing exams, but if you can just walk us through it so that we can know where to start from. Thank you. My name is Vivian.
To our website, which is www.cips.org, and go to the aspect of membership. You will just see very clear guidance on the different routes you can follow to join, and at any point in time also, if you have any challenge, you can also reach out to us directly. That's one of the reasons why we have office in Nigeria, so that we can provide you with the guidance. There's a student over there, I don't know whether you saw. But before that time, just to talk about 2 things that are very important
in line with member value proposition. By next year, first quarter of next year, Cips is launching an app. Yes, the way you can go to your phone and you get an app to work with. You will have an app that you can use for the basics you want to get out of Cips in terms of information. What that means is, without going to the website, you can use your app to do a lot. And this is in line with what is happening. You know, these days, like app. It's all about simplifying things as much as possible. The other one that is very important is the membership card. I don't know whether any of us has heard about it. The membership card will be in such a way, in fact, I was thinking I brought mine into this place, which is just a sample. And I just hope I can get it and show some people before we leave here. When you have it, it comes with your name and your membership number for life. And it has a barcode at the back that when you scan it, it takes you to my Cips. And everything in terms of the basic information that is linked to you, you can see it. The other one also is that card, like Dan, you went to Cips office in the UK. I was also told that it can enable access to Cips. You can imagine how useful that is going to be. And several other things. You saw the pin Sam gave out today. Before now, it's more of the fellows that will get pins to use. But you see the one I'm wearing now? I just kept my fellowship pin to wear this so that you see that very soon we will want you to have pins like this so that anywhere you go to, it's very easy to associate you with Cips. Several other things happening because of improvement in value proposition. But lastly is this. Several people have wondered, if I have Cips, I'm working in an organization, we are talking about issues around compliance, and you have a challenge, how do you report to get support? Maybe there's an abuse, there is a corruption issue, and you need help. Now, for the first time, Cips is working on creating a reporting channel in such a way that if you have any challenge, you can report through that and we can use it to support to manage such a challenge. Like if it's a corruption issue, for instance, we have that, just like what you see in whistleblowing arrangements. We have a firm unique for that can help us to signpost that to the relevant entity that can support to deal with issues like that. So these are all the new things that are happening so that you can feel Cips stronger than it used to be.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. We can never have enough of talking to Chukodi. Feel free after now, meet with him privately. You get more information from him. I would also quickly invite Paul Thompson, the coordinator of the Southeast. While he's coming, thank you so much, sir, for your time and for the wonderful information that you've shared with us. And we trust to get more and more. As we work with you, the branch and the office, we trust that we'll get more. Thank you so much, sir. So somebody did ask about how do we, the membership thing and all. Please feel free to reach out to the chapter coordinator, Southeast, Paul Thompson. After now, get his contact and also give him yours, so that he can have you like under a database and be able to share relevant information with you. You can also ask those relevant questions on that platform and get answers not only for yourself but for others that will be on the platform. And I would want to end, he will stand here to also give an appreciation to all of us, but I want to end by letting the cat out of the bag with the permission of the director, the branch chair, the country director, that in no distant time we would come to have maybe a Port Harcourt branch and not a Cips Nigeria branch, but it will be a Cips Port Harcourt branch. That's one thing that we're working on, and in no distant time that would happen. Thank you and God bless you.
I sincerely want to use this opportunity to appreciate every one of us, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, for making time to be in this conference today. For a very long time, we have not been able to meet physically in Port Harcourt. With the Cips leadership, we were able to put things together for us to have this meeting. That's to take this vote of thanks, and I would like to appreciate the Cips leadership in the first place for providing the avenue for us to move from where we are to where we are right now, and also for defining, or for their commitment in defining excellence, defining ethics, and their commitment in promoting global best practices in procurement and supply. I also want to appreciate the branch leadership in the person of Mrs. Omotunde Oyedeji for providing leadership to the team, and also the organizing committee for the various contributions they have made for us to be seated here today. I say a big thank you once again to you. And to our speakers, Mrs. Chioma Ogbechi, Ibrahim Hussaini, Dr. Williams Odewinge, I want to appreciate you for making yourself available today to deliver the lecture that we have gleaned today. We have been able to have insightful teachings from you, which we believe will help us as we go back to our various places of work to ensure that value is delivered and ensure that we continue to promote the values of the Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply. Also, I'd like to appreciate the panelists, Dr. Mrs. Mina Johnson, Dr. Bartholomew Oborolo, Toyin Temitokpe, Dr. Ike Guru Mark Kingsley. Your contributions, your experiences have been well articulated, and we have been able to pick one or two things from the things you have shared with us today, and we believe we'll be able to go back and put them to work. And ultimately, I'd like to appreciate Sam Achampong, Chukwudi Uche, once again Omotunde Oyedeji, and Harrison Ilodigwe, the branch secretary, for standing by us. Thank you. Shortly after now, we'll be taking the lunch, and I want to sincerely once again thank every one of us, both members and non-members that have made themselves available today. I say, may God bless you all. Thank you. Please put your hands together.
Dr. Minat Johnson Hart, and I'm here at the CIPS conference in Port Harcourt. I am happy to be here because I think this is my first CIPS conference in Nigeria, despite the fact that I've been a member for close to 19 years. It was interesting to have my colleagues talk about issues, discuss, make new contacts, and the students from the school being here. It's been really interesting.
The occasion was a nice one. Particularly happy that the program was properly organized and time was properly managed. It showed professionalism. I'm also very happy for the honor done on me today by awarding me Life Ambassador of the Institute. It means a lot to me. Apart from just paying subscription or not paying subscription, that one is recognized for what somebody has done. It shows that the people you work for appreciate you. I'm really happy. May God bless everyone who attended. May God bless the leadership. God bless the attendees and the organizers of this event. I really appreciate it.
Hi everyone, my name is Anthony Uchechi Teresa. I'm from the Department of Logistics and Supply Chain Management in ROSC. We came for this Cips conference today. We have explored, we have learned a lot of things. We enjoyed the meeting, we enjoyed being with them. And my friend here can say more.
My name is Asoye Stella Chibroma, and it's wonderful actually. It's amazing because I learned so much. And one thing that I learned in this program is that collaboration in every organization is very, very important and essential in order to grow and ensure more things and get more wins. You just have to collaborate with other institutions and organizations. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kelechi AK, and I'm here to participate about the Standard Institute of Procurement and Supply. This event was truly impactful. It talked about the uprising scale of tax innovation, how tax are being implemented in the next level and the present years to come. And it's good to know that the costing of this membership, because I came to be a member of this, has been reduced, and I hope that in long term I could grow, I could get more insights, I could also be able to network with other supply chain management teams.